It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is back. Paris Martineau is here. We have lots to talk about. AT&T says nearly all its mobile customers were hacked in a recent breach. Yikes. Goldman Sachs says AI is overhyped, wildly expensive, and unreliable. And Sam Altman's got a leaky pool. He's suing. It's all coming up next and a lot more on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 777, recorded Wednesday, 7/17/2024. Victim of Affluence. It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is back. We missed you, Jeff. There he's got his little hat on for typesetting. Did you become a linotype operator?
No, that was far too modern. Far too modern for me. I'll try to find the photo here.
What were you doing? We showed the photo last week of you and your ink.
Oh, you did show that photo?
Yeah.
Be holding that?
Yeah, we were very impressed.
Show me holding the type?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, Paris?
Yeah.
That's
Yes. Now, Jeff, you've got to show them what you made. Now I feel like I'm a
I will. So I took a picture of it, so I'll put that in the Discord.
Show us what you made, Jeff. Jeff was the
I made an ashtray for Leo.
Jeff, by the way, Jeff, I saw that you have outed yourself as to your future career. Is that correct? You mentioned somewhere in public what you're doing next.
Jeff looks deeply confused.
Maybe I thought.
Well, I'm going to work with two other universities, but it's not official yet, so I can't say it.
But you mentioned one of them, and I thought, maybe it's
public?
I think it was on Twitter. Anyway,
Don't go looking for that information.
Forget you heard this.
I don't think so.
Jeff Jarvis is the Emeritus Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the University of New York.
You're going into the Discord as we speak here. Capture Discord. I forgot to put a photo up. Is a picture of the type I set.
The type I set.
So that first paragraph there.
The type I set. Tips for typesetters. It is a wise.
So the centaur there. I didn't write this. I set the type.
You actually put the cold lead into the thing, or was it hot lead?
Here's a compositor stick, and you put the letter in.
Oh, this is wow. This is integrated. Yeah, pre-linotype. Yeah. So is it cold or hot?
Well, it's cold.
It's cold.
It's cold. Yeah.
Do they melt it down at the end of the day and start over?
No, that's linotypes. That was the point. Is you had to reuse the type.
You reuse
as you went.
So at the end of the setting up the thing, you have to take it apart and like Legos.
And you have to clean it. In the old days, you would clean it with lye and urine. We didn't have to do that because of OSHA. And yes, then you have to put it back in each spot.
Oh my gosh!
And figure it out. And you have to lead it out. You have to put little tiny spaces in to even it out on the line. And then we put it in a proof press. There's video of me running the proof press.
This must be the most painstaking and, I don't know, fiddly.
Amazing.
Yeah. Did you enjoy
this? Is
how long did it take you to set a paragraph or your little?
Well, in my linotype book, I have a fat paragraph, much longer than that. And I say that it could have taken Mark Twain 2 hours to do that.
Wow.
You'd be paid like 3 cents an hour. They're paid over how much type they set. So this was all I should plug them. This is the Rare Book School. I went to University of Virginia. They have it all over. They're all kinds of wonderful, amazing courses. Mine was topography, before and after the linotype. 2 wonderful instructors, and it was I'm there with professors and librarians and like grown-up people, and so it was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Bravo.
I'll take off the silly hat now.
And was that hat made of newsprint folded just so? Did they teach you how to do that?
Yes. They have a little thing they write on it. So normally there should be a piece of newsprint, but who can find a newspaper anymore? A. B, because the newsprint has shrunk, it probably wouldn't fit on most heads anymore. Newsprint used to be big. It got smaller.
That is Jeff Jarvis. And
I've monopolized here before we get to Paris.
On the left of your screen, Paris Martineau, who has not set hot lead or cold lead. In fact, everything she does is in a content management system, and it's just a lot of bits.
It's true. Live and die by the CMS.
Yep. She is, of course.
What CMS do you use, by the way?
We have our own CMS at the
Of course you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the information.
Most of the places I've worked has had their own CMS.
Well, that's one of the most ridiculous things about our business is like our paragraphs are special. Nobody else can write paragraphs like we write our paragraphs.
That was
They're paragraphs.
That was the come on for Medium, right? Was how easy it was to write because of their beautiful CMS.
Well, it is true.
Oh,
it is beautiful.
Okay.
That one gets a pass.
Well, in that case, okay. Do you like the information's CMS? Does it have a name?
Honestly, I don't have to deal with the CMS at all.
Oh. You text
I
message
write in
yours.
Google Docs, and my editor copies and pastes it in there for me and does it all. It's fine, though. I have to use it sometimes whenever I do like briefings, which is kind of occasionally if there's a news thing on your beat, you might upload something, and it's fine.
In the old days, you wanted to do it so you could get your story to length in the CMS.
Wow.
But now, digitally, who cares? What's
length? What's length? Do you
What's
count
length?
your words? Do you count your words, Paris?
Not really, no.
They don't say you need,
They don't
we need
say
a
an assignment
2,500
is
word piece or we need a 1,000 word piece. You write it.
No,
as many words
I mean,
as you
I don't
need.
really get, as many words as I need. I mean, sometimes I like look at it because it gives me sometimes when you're writing something, you don't have a sense of how long it is. The length of it in your head is warped, kind of like a funhouse mirror, either much shorter or longer than it actually is. So I'll use the word count feature for that. But I rarely, if ever, get like, give me 1,800 words on X,
The world has really changed. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
I always write long. It's my old days. I write long and about 20% long.
Intentional.
And then it's the
and then cut.
Yeah, cut.
Huh.
Have I told you, have I done my Uncle Jeff moment about what it was like to work on Rewrite It, a newspaper?
Yes, you have, and I find it
fine.
delightful every time you say it. I mean that
Jeff.
genuinely. I do.
You know what's
I
great
think it's
about
very cute.
being our age, Paris, is I don't remember him ever saying that. So I'd like to hear that story again.
Actually, I never did. Paris just doesn't want to hear it.
No, you did, because you'd have to send it to the different people, and then they'd
That's
have
right.
to run
That's right.
to
The
different
pneumatic
places.
tube and all that.
Yeah, pneumatic tube. I remember.
They've all heard it before.
I've heard it.
Jeff
We'll end
Jeff
Uncle
had a
Jeff.
big
These are the sort
birthday.
of anecdotes you get when you have a big birthday. Yeah.
Jeff, we're not
You wanna
going to say anything unless you give us permission. But I just wanted to wish you happy birthday. We're happy you were born.
What the hell? I'm so old. How old am I? I'm so old. I've now applied for my Social Security.
That's the big one. Actually, I've been trying to decide because I keep seeing things like, well, you can do it now, but then I see things that say you should wait till 70 and a half because that's when you maximize the amount of money you get.
Well, and you're really kind of screwed because all along you've been paying double as an employer and employee.
Social Security won't exist by the time I'm your guys' age.
It
so
might not
I don't
exist
really have
by
to think about that.
January, to be honest. So just enjoy it while you got it, Jeff.
But that wasn't a political statement anymore.
No, nothing's going to happen in January
That's just,
that I know
think,
of.
yeah.
AT&T said criminals stole phone records of nearly all their wireless customers. All of them.
I'm one of them.
Whoops.
Whoops. If you were an AT&T customer between May 2022 and October 31st, 2022, well, bad guys got every phone call and text message, not the contents, just the numbers, dates, and times.
Nor did they get your Social Security number or any of that.
Right.
They just got the call log.
But as we have said in the past, the call log can be very, very revealing.
It depends on what you've done.
Not for you and me, probably.
No, because we're boring as hell.
Calling and texting records. Oh, and by the way, if you're an AT&T customer who called a customer on another cell service, that customer's number was also revealed. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how awful this is. I guess bad guys have now 110 million known numbers, but they make them up anyway. It's not like they need them. AT&T published a website with information for customers about the data incident. They also filed with regulators before the market opened last Friday. Now, Steve Gibson talked a little bit about this because AT&T said this was because we used a very fast-growing unicorn from a few years ago called Snowflake. In fact, Snowflake has been hacked 35 of its customers, including LendingTree and Ticketmaster, as well as AT&T. I'm sorry, 165 of its customers. 165 have been hacked in this Snowflake-related breach. Snowflake said, oh, it's not our fault, it's their fault. They didn't have multi-factor authentication. But what Steve pointed out is that means the bad guys must have had the passwords. We're not sure what happened, but it's really bad, and I think you can blame Snowflake. AT&T would like to, for sure. In any event, it's bad news, but not the worst for us as users. The hacking group has members in North America and one American who lives in Turkey, according to Mandiant, the security firm that discovered the hack. Snowflake has 165 customers who they say have been hacked because it's their fault. They didn't use two-factor authentication.
AT&T didn't use two-factor authentication?
That seems odd, yes. That's what they're saying.
They're saying that AT&T, the company, didn't use it?
Yes. That none of the 165 companies who were hacked used two-factor. If they had, says Snowflake, well, they wouldn't have been breached. But that also tells you something because you need usually with two-factor a password. You need two factors, a password and then the second factor. So there's more than meets the eye to this story, as Steve Gibson was quick to point out.
What is the original sin here?
No one knows. That's
when was
the
there
problem.
A breach? Oh.
No one is
how do you,
really
if you're
sure.
a corporation, how do you use two-factor? Like, hey, Joe, we got to your cell. I know you're on vacation, but we got to use your cell. I mean,
I don't know. You know, let's ask our esteemed audience. There are a lot of IT professionals, but I'm going to guess it has something to do with executives.
Executives or people who work in engineering, IT, any other department, just having a two-factor authentication program for employee logins. But I'd be very surprised if AT&T didn't have that. I mean, it seems like a very basic part of having an insurance policy as a modern company, from what I understand, is requiring your employees to use two-factor.
Yeah. Snowflake did not require companies use two-factor. And I think a lot of times IT departments say, we got a good strong password. We don't need a two-factor because if we'd use two-factor, then everybody's got to have the token and it's just too much trouble or something like that. I don't know. By the way, you might be interested to know that Snowflake. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Snowflake. It was another. AT&T tried to get the hacker to delete the stolen customer data, paying him $370,000. That was
just delete it.
That was a mistake. And they originally wanted $1 million. They said, "Well, will you take $370,000?" They said, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll take that." And then, of course, it didn't work. But then I think, also in the Snowflake attack, there was, maybe you experienced this. A lot of car dealers and repair shops were down for a long time because of a company that did dealer software and dealer management systems, I think they're called.
Is this also the same problem that happened recently to, I think, pharmacy benefit managers that put a lot of pharmacies down for a large period of time because of a hack related incident?
Probably, yeah. So the company.
Oh, that was a ransomware hack, I think.
Well, this was kind of ransomware too. So it's CDK Global, which makes dealership software that is it's pretty much owns the market. Decided to pay $25 million ransom to the hackers. 387 Bitcoin sent to a crypto account controlled by hackers. After the payment was made a week later, CDK said, "Oh, good news, we're bringing car dealers back online." This was a big one for car dealers. I remember a lot of, I think my dealer as well. Almost everybody uses a CDK. By the way, owned by private equity, uses the CDK Global software, and they were all down. They all had to do all their stuff by hand, which wasn't easy. Selling a car by hand these days, not easy.
So that was a ransomware attack, not a simple hack.
Well,
yes,
it all starts with a simple hack, and then what happens later depends on the gang, I guess.
For the case of AT&T wasn't shut down. They just, data was copied.
Right.
In the case of the car dealers,
data was shut. They were shut down because they were encrypted.
They were shut down.
That's right. Yeah.
I've asked this before, but I'm old and I forget things, so I can ask it again.
Please do.
I still don't understand how you can't have backup systems that protect you against such a ransomware attack.
Right. It's more complicated. I wish it were that
I knew
simple.
you'd say that, but explain it to me because I'm old.
Well, I'm not sure either. I mean, that's what I used to always say. Well, they should have a better backup. But sometimes what happens, the ransomware fellas, this is why it's more, it's never just ransomware. So a lot of times the guys get in, and then the first thing they do is after they steal the customer data as much as they can because they're going to blackmail you with that. Then they also investigate where the backups are, right? So that the backups get encrypted as well.
Because you're constantly backing up, so there's a data connection.
Or they know where they are and they make sure that those get encrypted too. So I think but that's not to say there aren't good security solutions out there for companies in this situation.
Like one hopes the Department of Defense knows how to do this, and the CIA.
Yeah, my sense is that what you want is backups that can't be modified, so they can't be encrypted. But I think it's expensive, it's complicated. Steve spends a lot. I really should give Steve
I know this
credit because this is what he talks about. Yeah, I think was Snowflake being used for backups? It was a cloud service. Maybe they were backing up to Snowflake. Anyway, not a good thing overall. I don't know. I botched this story because I'm not the security guy. I'm just kind of listening to Steve and thinking, "Wow."
You let Steve talk.
Wow, this is terrible news. If you're an AT&T customer, not much to do. And honestly, I don't think it's at the end of the world. If people know who you were calling, I don't know. It depends. It would be for you, Paris, because the phone numbers of sources might be in that trove.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah,
I did not
also
use
creates your
AT&T
social
at the
graph.
time.
Your social graph is in there also.
Yeah, but so
Yes.
what if I had your social graph? What would I do with it, Benito?
Sell it to a marketing company or an agent.
Yeah, but that's not like the harm is minor.
If someone's trying to stalk you, you could sell that to them.
Sure.
If, any
Yes.
sort of bad actors.
There are some
getting hold
people
of that
who
information
this would be a bad thing for. Journalists, women with evil boyfriends. And there are some people who this would be really
Well,
bad.
spam callers have gotten better at giving you a phone number that you think might be somebody you know. Now they'll be able to do it. Now they'll be able to. I mean, the fear is, I'm going to call my boss. I'm going to act like I'm Benito, calling in saying
That's kind of what happened. That's exactly what happened. Somebody impersonated Lisa using her phone number, and there's a good example of how you could use this. If you got a manager at a company and you got all of their direct reports and you could see their phone numbers, you could text them all on a pretext, right? Saying,
right.
In this case, all our employees got texts saying they were from our CEO, and I'm in a meeting right now. I want to give Amazon gift cards to all our hosts. Can you buy some? It happened.
Coming
It's
from
happened
Lisa's
twice.
phone number, yeah.
Yeah, it's happened twice. And can you buy some and send them this address? And it's almost credible because we do, in fact, give Amazon gift cards to employees and stuff. So it's almost credible. In order to do that, they had to know a lot of information. This is the kind of place they might get it, right?
I just had to walk over to Lisa's office and be like, hey, was this you?
But you did that, which is good. Thank you, Benito. There are people who might go, oh, gosh.
You know who's
Well, the
not
boss
going to do
says-
that? An older person who's
Somebody
perhaps
of
alone
the
doesn't
age
know
of
technology
70
that
or
much.
age,
so.
yeah.
Someone who's perhaps just turned 70 and their, granddaughter, grandson asked them for Amazon gift cards over text.
I really worry about my mom and dad and all of our elders. I mean, I guess your elders is a relative term. We're your elders. and you may be worried about us, Paris. But
I'm worried about you.
Yeah, we worry about them because, they're particularly susceptible. And they can ill afford to lose money to scammers. But they do all the time.
It happened with my father. Somebody claiming to be my son called my father. And I'm at Niagara Falls. That's the scam. It's known for Niagara Falls. And, called him. He called my father Pop-Pop. He called him Grandpa. There are all kinds of signals in there, but you panic. You think your grandchild is in danger. And he was headed out to Walmart to send. And I think my mother called, and they called. Just call Tammy and Jeff and make sure Jake's okay. And we called Jake to make sure Jake was okay, and Jake was okay, so we could tell him, yes, we know he's okay. This is a scam.
Oh
that's
gosh.
how good it is, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
All it takes is a little bit of information that makes it feel.
They didn't even have information because how many numbers do they have to call in Florida until they get somebody who has a grandson?
Right, exactly. You don't even need that, right?
No.
You want to talk about security? We're in the security now mode. So from Krebs on security, Brian Krebs worked a long time at the Washington Post, is now an independent security researcher at KrebsOnSecurity.com. At least a dozen organizations with domain names at Squarespace. They were at Google Domains. Remember that Squarespace
I might have a few there.
bought all the assets. Oh, my daughter does. She's pissed. She said, what is this? I don't want Squarespace as my registrar. So, at least a dozen organizations that had been moved to Squarespace saw their websites hacked last week. Squarespace bought all assets of Google Domains a year ago, but many customers still haven't set up their new accounts. Experts say malicious hackers learned they could commandeer any migrated Squarespace accounts that hadn't yet been registered.
Oh, crap.
Merely by supplying an email address tied to an existing domain.
Which in many cases, the domain would be admin at
twit.com. All you need is the domain, I guess. The Squarespace domain hijacks, which took place between July 9th and 12th, appeared, of course, to have mostly targeted cryptocurrency businesses. In some cases, the attackers were able to redirect the hijacked domains to phishing sites. So it's a complicated hack. So you now control the domain. You redirect it to an identical looking page, but is yours that you control, and then you phish credentials to steal cryptocurrency. Squarespace bought 10 million.
You can just get a job, people. Oh.
It's a good job. That's the problem. They make good money.
They make money. Yeah. No. But it's not easy. They work hard for it.
They earn it.
Say that for them.
If you could say that. Squarespace bought about 10 million domains from Google Domains in last year, 1 year ago, and has been gradually, they've been migrating those domains over to Squarespace. Brian says, Squarespace did not respond to my request for a comment, nor has it issued a statement. But an analysis released by security experts at MetaMask and Paradigm find the most likely explanation for what happened is that, get this, Squarespace assumed all users migrating from Google domains would select the social login options, like continue with Google, continue with Apple, as opposed to the continue with email choice. They never accounted for the possibility a threat actor might sign up for an account using an email associated with a recently migrated domain before the legitimate email holder created the account themselves. That's the loophole. Thus, nothing actually stops them from trying to log in with an email. And because it hasn't been migrated, there's no password on the account. Squarespace hasn't even admitted it.
Boy.
It just shoots.
So what did your daughter do?
Well, she has claimed the domains, but if you know somebody who was migrated, I'm trying to remember if I had any Google domains. That's the problem, right? You register those domains and you forget about it, or you don't think about it, or you're not in a big hurry. The domains being migrated from Google to Squarespace are known, said Taylor Monahan, the lead product manager at MetaMask. It's either public or easily discernible info which email addresses have admin of a domain. I guess, yeah, if you just do a lookup, a whois lookup. And if that email never sets up their account on Squarespace, say because the billing admin left the company 5 years ago or folks just ignored the email, anyone who enters that email at domain in the Squarespace form now has full access to control the domain. So let's say I had Google domains, I had fancypants.com. And if you do a whois on fancypants.com, you'll see that the technical contact is admin at fancypants.com. If you also note that it was registered at Google Domains, you can assume it was transferred by Google to Squarespace. Simply enough, you just try to log into fancypants.com, and when it says, how do you want to log in, you say email admin at fancypants.com. And Bob's your uncle, as they say.
Leo, I immediately went to look up fancypants.com and it autofilled because we've done this bit before where you've been talking about a fake domain and you used fancypants.com.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the pants that are arguably fancy. We've been down this road before. Absolutely.
All right, I'll use tunictime.com.
I just think it's very funny.
Well, what's funny is I used to have fancypants.com, and apparently...
Yes, I think we discussed this, and you do not anymore.
Somebody has taken it.
Maybe through a Squarespace hack.
You can't trust anybody these days. Let me just see who owns Tunic Time. I registered these at a point when I thought I might want to have a business selling fancy pants.
What do you consider to be fancy pants?
Ones that fit.
It wasn't me. It wasn't for me. It was for my ex-wife. She had this idea of a business of like floral prints. It was a fleeting notion. It wasn't like we had a business plan and a deck or anything. And then Tunic Time. But I see
it was worth $200 million, Paris.
I've let Tunic Time lapse.
What was Tunic Time going to be?
Tunics.
What sort of
tunics? Because they were coming back, Paris. Tunics were coming back. But then along came Untuck It and ruined it all.
I can tell you the problem. Yeah. Fancy Pants got snapped up as soon as I let it go, but Tunic Time is still available for only $8.98 if you'd like to buy it.
People aren't clamoring for the time of tunics.
No. Anyway, that's exciting.
Can you buy a tunic? Let me look up tunic.
What? I don't even know.
It's just showing blouses, which I'd argue are not tunics.
No,
I think of medieval tunics.
Yeah, tunic should have like a Nehru collar.
All right. Wait, no. I put it in the Discord. Oh no, this is it. This is
you
it.
Found
this
some
Leo's
tunics?
New Business. Oh yeah, this is Leo's New Business.
Okay,
this is it. I guarantee you, this is the solution.
Oh, that's
to all
it.
your
You're
problems.
right. Those are tunics.
Jeff, I'm coming to post the exact same sort of photo.
That's a tunic. For all you LARPers who want to be medieval lords, that's a tunic.
It's Tunic Time.
It's Tunic Time. You see, it wasn't a bad idea. It could have been a contender. Paris posted something very similar. You guys really do look alike, don't you? Think alike. Wow.
Google does.
We're all slowly merging into one big brain.
Well, you know how you feel when it's Tunic Time. You really want it. By the way, this Viking linen tunic is only $64.90 from grimfrost.com.
Oh, boy.
Holy moly. Fast worldwide shipping, supplier to Vikings and Game of Thrones. They actually sell these things to TV shows.
But I put up a Tancred tunic for the Crusades.
Oh,
it's heavy, off-white, 100% cotton tunic.
Okay,
with a blood-red Crusader's cross.
On grimfrost.com, you can get Viking jewelry, Viking wear, which is like horns and things like that, and gym wear, inexplicably.
Well, the Vikings were pretty darn fit.
I guess, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to wear this to the gym.
Oh, my God, go to the tank tops. Go to the tank tops. I'm telling you.
This site is
Yeah, I feel like there's a pop-up.
There's something going on. There's a pop-up that's not. The site is grayed out. I don't know why.
You can get a tank top that says heathen.
Yeah, that's what I was
or
looking
berserker.
Berserker. Nice. Where's the pop-up?
Ulf-headed, whatever the hell that means.
Wow, they have a lot of dining products, which just appear to be...
I thought you just used your hands.
Yeah, I do think that that's not super
So this
accurate.
is a Swedish company. Yeah, I feel
That
like there's
tracks.
a cookie thing popping up that I don't see, and it's grayed out until I acknowledge it. It's very weird. So
They have wood
They
plates.
sell beard rings. Rings for your beard.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I got to grow mine.
So let me ask you, when you're in the dating scene,
Where is this going?
would you rather date a guy with beard rings or a top knot?
Good question.
I mean, I think
Good
top knot
question.
is very par for the course in Brooklyn, but
You
I
can't
think
avoid the
beard
scared
top
for you,
knot.
Paris.
You can't
I'm
avoid the
scared
man,
for you.
or as some call it, the
I mean-
man bun. You can't avoid it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I'm being honest, I'd say top knot, but I do think that beard rings would be a fun excursion.
I feel like somebody with beard rings also uses beard oil, and that is a bridge
that's
too
a lot.
far.
Well, I don't know. If you use beard oil and it makes your beard look good and not oily, that's fine, I guess.
it gives
'Cause
it a
some people have
gloss.
too dry. Some
Right.
people have too dry beards.
You want to moisten it. That's right.
I will say, maybe a year or so ago, I was going to my local coffee shop, which for some reason is like in the basement apartment of just a brownstone. It doesn't make sense. And I was sitting out there like with my coffee, and next to me were two men deep in conversation about forging armor for themselves. Forging chainmail.
You
And I was
have
like, only in
come
Brooklyn.
to the Grimfrost coffee shop. Would you like a tunic? All right, let's pause, and we will continue so you can digest what you've just heard today. You're watching This Week in Google. We had a little Google. That was a Google story. The
was
This
Google
week in
domains.
Grimfrost.
Yeah, This Week in Grimfrost. Has the show started, asks B. Jones. Yes, I'm afraid so. This is it.
Has the show started?
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is the content,
This is it.
baby.
This is it.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets.
This is typical. You got to admit, right?
Yep. Now, when we're talking security, a lot, this Snowflake story really is exactly why you need 1Password's extended access management. Our sponsor is 1Password today. Imagine, if you will, that your company's security is like the quad of a college campus. You know that? You got the ring of beautiful ivy-covered brick buildings. Outside and inside, there's a beautiful green, field. And across it, there are nice brick paths going between the buildings. That's how you get to class. You go down the brick path. Those are company-owned devices, IT-approved apps, managed employee identities. It's all orderly. It's all secure. But then, every quadrangle has it, the paths that people actually use, the shortcuts. If you're going from one class to another, you're not going to go down that brick path that'll take you out of your way. You're going to go right across the grass, and then, of course, eventually a dirt path gets worn in the grass. Those are unmanaged devices, shadow IT apps, BYOD devices, non-employee entities like contractors. Most security tools only work on those happy brick paths. As long as you do everything like you're supposed to, they're going to work fine. But many security problems, of course, occur on the shortcuts, on the dirt paths. That's why you need 1Password extended access management. It's the first security solution that brings all those unmanaged devices and apps and identities under your control. 1Password extended access management ensures that every user credential is strong and protected. Every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. So there's nobody sneaking down the little shortcuts there in your network. 1Password EAM, extended access management, solves the problems traditional IAM and MDM just can't touch. It's really, truly security for the way we work today. Available now to companies with Okta, coming later this year. You'll be glad to know Jeff Jarvis, to Google Workspace and Microsoft Entra. Check it out at 1password.com/twig. That's the number 1, PASSWORD, 1password.com/twig. And of course, this is based on the company that we've been advertising for a long time, Collide. 1Password acquired them a few months ago, and they've made a tool that uses the best of both. That's really fantastic. 1password.com/twig. We thank them for their support. Goldman Sachs says AI is overhyped, wildly expensive, and unreliable.
They have a point.
Do you now you still do the AI Insiders show with Jason every...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I think there's a lot
week.
going on there, but
Yeah.
I also think it is also overhyped.
Yeah. Sachs says, and this is in an analyst's paper, they say there's little to show for the huge amount of spending on generative AI infrastructure, and questions, quote, whether this large spend will ever pay off in terms of AI benefits and returns. You know, this is based on a series of interviews with Goldman Sachs economists, researchers, MIT professor, and infrastructure experts. And, of course, this is for investors. Should you continue? Because the AI is hot right now. If you're, look at NVIDIA, up, 700% this year alone. If you're an AI company or you just are a normal company, you spread a little AI on your name, your stock price goes up. The paper questions whether generative AI will ever become the transformative technology that Silicon Valley and large portions of the stock market are currently betting on. But, and this is a wonderful piece from 404 Media, one of our favorite places, Jason Keebler doing this. We got to get Jason back on Twit, by the way, Benito. Next time you're looking for somebody, he'd be great. Doesn't mean you won't make money in it. Goldman says investors may continue to get rich anyway. Oh, well, I wish you told me that in the first place. Despite these concerns and constraints, we still see room for the AI theme to run, either because AI starts to deliver on its promise or, more likely, because bubbles take a long time to burst. And they even quote your buddy, Ed Zitron.
Wait, they quote Ed in the...
It's a 404 story.
404 quotes Ed.
It's not Goldman Sachs. No, Goldman Sachs did not quote Ed Zitron.
But Ed did write about it on his newsletter, Where's Your Ed.at. A week and a half ago. Should I do this in his voice? Can you do this in his voice? Do you have Ed's voice in your head?
I don't have a British accent in my head.
Goldman Sachs put out a 31-page report titled Gen AI Too Much Spend.
Little growlier.
Too little benefit. That includes some of the most damning literature on generative AI I've ever seen. And yes, that sound you hear is the slow deflation of the bubble I've been warning you since March. Ed, come on. Too early to take a victory lap, really. Now come on. This report is so significant, he writes, because Goldman Sachs, like any investment bank, does not care about anyone's feelings unless doing so is profitable. It will gladly hype anything if it thinks it'll make a buck. In fact, he points out back in May, it was all over generative AI, showing very positive signs of eventually boosting GDP and productivity. The jury's still out on AI. I acknowledge that. And I think
gotta go back for reprogramming, Leo. You're winning.
No, I need another walk on the beach with David Sachs. We should mention what's going on with the All In podcast, which apparently is now all in for Trump. They should just call it that. And Andreessen Horowitz, too, the big venture capital firm. Mark Andreessen on their podcast, talking to Ben Horowitz, all have decided, including Elon Musk, that especially now that J.D. Vance is the vice presidential presumptive he is the nominee. It's official now.
The nominee.
He is the nominee. It's official.
They love J.D. Vance because for like 5 minutes for a cup of coffee, he worked as a venture capitalist for Peter Thiel. And so they think that Vance is going to be good for them. But a number of people are saying, why is Elon Musk saying he's going to spend $45 million a month to support Trump's campaign when Trump is avidly anti-EV? Isn't this bad for Tesla's business?
Well, because Biden didn't invite Musk to the meeting at the White House about EVs because Tesla is non-union.
So he's, I mean, it doesn't take much to
He's
set off
miffed.
Elon. Elon says
No, not at all.
he's
We know
moving
that.
SpaceX and X out of California because they dared make a law that says schools don't have to notify parents of gender changes on kids in schools. And one
of his kids is trans, right?
One of his
non-binary.
kids.
Gender pronoun changes. Not gender change, gender pronoun.
Yeah, they're not changing your child's gender.
Paris wants to be they, them. The school says the
school's just like, all right, whatever.
Whatevs.
I've
We'll call
got
you that, but we don't have to-
55 of you in one class.
We don't have to call your parents on that one, I don't think. But Elon says, "Oh well, I'm getting out of Dodge." I think this though is a very strange choice to make, given Trump is very clearly anti-EV.
Do you think this is a very strange choice to make for Elon Musk, given everything he's said and done over the past couple of years? I feel like he's been very vocal about his pivot to right-leaning politics and his interest in the Trump campaign, in both private and public.
It was rumored started supporting the what is it, the America PAC, the First America PAC, but he came out, very much so came out after Trump was shot, full-blown supporter on Twitter. He says that's it, and then now he's giving a lot of money. He denied it briefly, but now he's not denying it anymore.
Well, as our friend Siva Vaidyanathan says, he always says he's going to do a lot of things.
Yeah, it doesn't
check
do a lot
back
of
and
things.
see whether he actually does.
Yeah.
He's not alone. Backers of the America PAC include Palantir, its founder Joe Lonsdale, and the Winklevi.
Oh, no surprise there. Well, there was a big dinner that was at Sachs's house.
That's where it happened.
That's where it happened. And let's also remember who was at that dinner? Rupert Murdoch.
Interesting. Why is that important?
Because Rupert Murdoch is, to my mind, I'm sorry if I'm a political comment here, the single most malign influence in the English-speaking democracy.
The funny
has
thing
an agenda.
is, everybody who knows him says he's quite courtly, quite gentlemanly, and
I've met him.
I think somewhat apolitical, but he certainly cares about his pocketbook.
He's highly political.
Is he?
It's just it's a chameleon
Right.
politics. I mean, he supported Labour in the UK when it was beneficial, yes. And the Sun grudgingly went for Labour this time, and finally at the last minute. So yes, he can do that when it's beneficial, but no, he's definitely.
So it's funny because when it was first reported that Musk would be donating $45 million a year to the America PAC, he denied it on an X post with the words "fake GNUS," JNUS, haha, little pun on the word news and news. Anyway, later he said, "Yeah, okay, I am." Unfortunately, in the United States, it is possible to donate unlimited amounts of money to PACs, political action committees. In effect, donating it to the candidate, but you're not. So there's no limit, as there would be if you were donating it directly to the
It could be actually worse because the candidate has to stand up behind whatever commercials there are and say, I endorse this ad. A PAC can do anything.
Right. The largest known donation of the election so far, $50 million from the great-grandson of Thomas Mellon. But again, it really feels like at least a good chunk of Silicon Valley has now decided to support Trump, even though it's not really clear that he would be good for big technology. Certainly, J.D. Vance has supported Lena Khan and the FTC in her prosecution of Google. And
he, too, is a movable feast.
Yeah.
He's anti-tech. I think that will change quickly because that was popular.
Well, I wonder if Elon promised something, right? I mean, if Elon got a promise, if Trump promised something to Elon.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think there's also just the general perception in the tech industry that Trump is going to make their lives a lot easier. I'm not saying that that's true or not. I was talking to a kind of leading crypto reporter the other day, And I was asking her about the beat and whatnot. And she said, yeah, one interesting side effect of covering crypto during this year is like it is very rapidly changed to the default assumption is that every big figure in crypto I talk to is probably a very ardent Trump supporter. Because the cryptocurrency industry, their belief is that Trump is going to, kind of deregulate that.
They do
aspect
mention
of the
that.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also one of the hot buttons is this whole issue of taxing unrealized gains. So what does that mean exactly?
That's different from the carried interest thing, right?
Oh, is it?
That is worrisome, I think. If the way it was expressed on radio this morning, and I'm not sure, if it means that you made paper gains in your equity, you have to pay tax on that, which is a problem because it can go back down. It's not like you have it in your pocket.
Right.
So that's an issue.
So that is one of the things that the Biden administration has. Have they done it or they proposed it? I think
No. They're proposing it.
They're
And
proposing
they'd have to have a hell of a.
It'd be hard to
majority
get
of
that
both
through
houses.
Congress,
Yeah.
but it very much concerns people, especially. Let's be fair, venture capitalists who put money, lots of money into startups, and if startups go from being worth $100 million to $1 billion and have to pay taxes on that $900 million, those are unrealized gains. They don't have the dollars to pay those taxes.
And they don't have the dollars, and B, it could go down to zero in the next year.
Right.
As it often does.
I think that's one of the things Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz said is,
but
this could
carried
kill
interest,
these startups.
Carried interest is a different case. The income flowing to the general partner of a private investment firm is treated as capital gains for the purposes of taxation. And private equity and venture capitalists gain tremendously by that, and it's a huge tax dodge for them.
So they got you coming and going.
Right now they got us coming and going because
yeah.
they got great benefits.
So let's not have the taxation on unearned gains, and let's get the carried interest deduction. And no wonder now I understand why Peter Thiel and David Sachs and Ben Horowitz are all supporters of an administration that says, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to take good care of you." That's not going to happen.
Any tax you don't like, we'll get rid of.
Yeah. The reason they like J.D. Vance, again, because he has some peripheral relationship, let's put it that way, to Silicon
With Thiel.
Valley.
It's
And
Thiel.
particularly with
Well, I mean, the argument is that Thiel got him nominated as VP.
Yeah. And in fact, at that dinner, here's a picture of the dinner at David Sachs' house. That's David Sachs, President Trump, and then David's co-host and bestie on the All In podcast, Chamath Palihapitiya. They during the $300,000 person dinner that night at the mansion in San Francisco, Mr. Trump, seated between Sachs and Palihapitiya, informally polled the room about who to choose as his running mate, even though Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota, another vice presidential hopeful, was at that dinner. Mr. Sachs, Mr. Palihapitiya, and others all said pick J.D. Vance, according to two people. This is from the New York Times. According to two people with knowledge of the exchange. And guess who got picked? J.D. Vance. So I guess the question is this going to be good for Silicon Valley?
I mean,
these guys
I think it's
think
hard
so.
To tell. It's yeah.
Reid Hoffman
These
doesn't
guys
think
have
so.
a history of making wild bets on a lot of things that don't turn out, and then having their business work because a small percentage of those many bets do work out. So,
Well, can I
They
point
get to write
out,
off all those losses,
Tesla
right?
would not be
Yeah.
around without the subsidies, the federal subsidies for electric vehicles. Subsidies which Trump says immediately he will discontinue.
and J.D.
Well, I
Vance
don't know
has
that.
argued that instead of subsidies for electric vehicles, we should be doing subsidies for gas-powered vehicles, manufactured in the U.S. specifically.
Who would benefit? Let me just, I'm just wondering who would be to benefit if the government gave everybody who bought a gas-powered vehicle $7,500.
Well, I think part of it is
What's the strategy?
gas-powered vehicles manufactured in the U.S.
So it's good for
I think he's
American
arguing
cars. I get it.
Or no, it's just being just trying to be contrarian, right? Everybody, all the EV is a woke car. So what's the unwoke car?
Right.
A Model T, and we're going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Reid Hoffman, who of course
Humvee. We're all going to buy Humvees.
I do think that one aspect of this that's underexplored and is conveniently left out by the venture capitalists and people like Elon Musk, who are throwing a lot of money or claiming to throw a lot of money behind Trump, is that Trump's impact on immigration will have a serious negative impact in the tech industry, because the tech industry lives and dies on immigrant visas. That is a huge percentage of, tech workers or people who've come here on their HB1 visa. And without that visa, that's going to be a definite problem.
I think Trump has said things like, well, we need to get the best people. Right now, he means that often in racial terms, but I think that he could probably be convinced that stealing China's computer scientists would be a good thing. Where it's going to hurt more, I think, in the long run, is student visas. And that's where we get a lot of talent coming in through universities, and I'll bet that's where he won't budge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if Silicon Valley, or at least that part of Silicon Valley, is being short-sighted, or if they got something there.
Them? Oh,
something I guess worth noting here, which we talked a little bit before the show, but I'll re-up, is The Information did a survey of some of our subscribers this week, kind of pegged to the news, just trying to get a sense of, because our subscribers are kind of unique in that they're like almost all like tech workers, VC type people,
and very smart.
And very smart,
yes.
And are the sort of people that are able to drop a lot, and good looking, and they've got great skin, and they naturally light up a room, and scientists are a little bit concerned.
Yes.
And we had about 2,500 responses of it, and it was asking who they plan to vote for as president. And in that response, 59% said Biden, 27% said Trump, and 10% said RFK Jr.
Yeah.
The brainworm candidate, which I think is interesting.
10%.
4% said other. Don't know what they meant by that, but I did think it was kind of an interesting.
Well, isn't Jill Stein still in? She's in the race, right? Maybe they're Greens. I don't know. Or Marianne Williamson. Maybe they like Marianne Williamson.
We're in crazy land. It's just crazy land.
It is an interesting world we're living in.
Estonia.
The news that's happened even during this podcast is wild.
Yeah. Eric Schmidt. Just thought I'd throw some Google content in at you. Here's the fastest object ever made by humans. Do you know what it is? Guess.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but
it does feel like something. It used to be a manhole cover, actually.
What? It used to be a manhole cover?
Yes. Well, not. I mean, sort of. It was a cover of a nuclear test borehole. So they bored it in.
Little different.
It's not a manhole. Nobody's gonna. Anyway, they dug a long trench for a nuclear bomb to test it, and then they put a cover on it so no one would fall in. So it was like an anti-manhole cover. But when they did do the test, the cover was blasted towards space at an estimated 240,000 kilometers, about 150,000 miles per hour. So going really fast. But that was, and it's no longer. Well, I don't know.
What happened
it
to
didn't.
it?
No, at that speed, it would just keep going. It's just going to keep. See, without John here, I don't know how to explain this, but I believe that that is much more than escape velocity, and so it would not stop. It would just go right out into space.
It would just keep going where? To space?
Space, yes.
Wow, hanging out there with a Tesla.
If I launched you at 150,000 miles an hour straight up, you'd go into space too. There's nowhere else to go. You're not going to come back. Anyway, it's no longer the fastest. The fastest is now the Parker Solar Probe. NASA, I didn't realize this, sent a probe towards the sun. It's going to make its closest approach next year, and will probably, by the way, break its record. But now, because it's slingshotting around the sun, it has gone 394,736 miles per hour on June 29th, 500 times faster than the speed of sound at sea level. And it's going to go even faster as it gets closer to the sun. It's going to get right next to the ultra-hot plasma surrounding the sun, take a lot of measurements. It's been up there for some time. This is its 20th close approach. But close is relative, coming within 7 million kilometers of the sun's surface. Now, the fastest...
Of course, I can't convert that to miles. What is that, about 40 miles?
I don't know. What is that in freedom distance units? I don't know. Multiply times 0.8.
Okay.
You do the math.
No, I can't.
My brain, I know. So it's a really fascinating fact. Thank you very much.
Fascinating.
Actually, Elon is in a little bit of trouble with the EU over X. They say that X has participated in deceptive practices with the blue check mark. I love the Financial Times picture of Elon. There are so many bad pictures of Elon that every journal in the world has some picture of him looking. He really looks particularly evil here.
He does.
Like he's up to no good. He's being threatened.
Real shiny head.
Well, we all have shiny heads. I have a shiny head. At least I got a head. He's being threatened with hefty fines by the EU over transparency issues. The concern of the EU was that by giving people a blue check mark just because they paid, it would give people the wrong impression. Since regulators in Brussels said, since anyone can subscribe to obtain such a verified status, it negatively affects users' ability to make free and informed decisions about the authenticity of the accounts and the content with which they interact. Yeah, the fine could be huge. Up to 6% of the total worldwide revenue of Twitter. Not profit. That wouldn't be much money at all. But the company earned $5.1 billion in 2021. That's the last year. Now that it's private, we don't know. But that's 6% of that is it's $300 million or something. That's some change. Musk says, no, that's not what happened. On Friday, he posted on X, the European Commission offered X an illegal secret deal. If we quietly censored speech without telling anyone, they would not fine us. The other platforms accepted that deal. X did not. To which the ever-salty Thierry Breton, EU Commissioner for the Internal Market, responded, be our guest, Elon Musk. There has never been and will never be any secret deal with anyone. And your mother smells of elderberries. The DSA provides X with the possibility to offer commitments to settle a case. To be extra clear, says Thierry, it is your team who asked the Commission to explain the process for settlement and to clarify our concerns. Up to you to decide whether to offer commitments or not. That is how the rule of law procedures work. We will see you in court or not. That was the tweet. Or what do you call it? Zeet. What do you call it now? Post. Just a post.
It's a tweet.
We've said this a million times, but it's still crazy to me that you buy a company that has a verb as
and then
part
give
of
it an
like
X.
tweet, and then you X out the verb.
Consider what he names his children.
He's off his rocker. I'm sorry. He really is.
Yeah. Well, but what gets me is look at this through the next weeks. The Wall Street Journal constantly fluffs him. Right. The fact that he's endorsed Trump was the lead story in the Washington Post. Now, why? The Wall Street Journal. Murdoch. Why is it the lead story?
Why?
Just watch.
What's
they
your
do
theory?
features on him.
Why?
They do all
Because they
kinds
love
of things.
him?
It's the most important thing in the world. Yeah.
Because he's the richest man in the world. Well,
I mean, I think it's probably, the answer is less exciting. I think it's probably because the Wall Street Journal's tech and business reporting is a big boon for it. That's what most of its readers are looking for. And the nexus between tech business reporting and politics, plus getting a scoop like that, probably would put it up on the front of the
It wasn't even a scoop.
Here's the thing. I don't know if it's doing what Rupert would like it to do. So let me read the top 5 headlines right now. The front page of the Wall Street Journal. J.D. Vance to make debut as Trump's running mate. Vance to lead next generation of MAGA conservatives. Usha Chilukuri Vance steps into a harsh spotlight. How Trump
racist spotlight.
Right.
But go ahead.
How Trump boosted his Latino and black support by ignoring party advice. That's the first 4. The 5th one, tech shares log worst day of 2024.
Yeah. Hello.
Musk turbocharges Silicon Valley support for Trump.
Yeah, that was the lead story earlier today.
Right next to it, real estate meltdown strains even the safest office bonds. Joe Biden tests positive for COVID.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Ooh, that's not good.
And he had just said, I think earlier this week, that he would consider stepping down if he had a medical incident.
Oh, you and your conspiracy theories.
There's no conspiracy.
I'm not saying it's a conspiracy
no.
theory. I'm just saying I think it's interesting that the two have
it
happened
may be
in
convenient
sequence.
for some views.
It may be inconvenient for Joe Biden, certainly.
COVID's back, by the way.
It is.
I mean, COVID never
big
went
way.
away.
I guess it never did go away. Yeah. All right. Enough politics. Let's palate cleansing time. We're going to take a break and come back with more less political stuff. You are watching. I forgot. What are you watching? This Week in Google with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis.
Slurp.
Come on, everybody now. Come on. Let's just we're taking
If
a
I
little.
had a slurp, I would.
Oh, you always should have a slurp.
I don't.
Always should
Yeah, I
have a
messed
slurp.
up.
When our daughter was a baby, she used to do that. To do that afterwards,
Love
mimicking
that.
us.
Love
It's
that.
very cute.
Speaking of getting a slurp, next time you go to Starbucks, you could charge up your $100,000 EV. Mercedes-Benz is going to install 100 charging hubs at Starbucks locations along California's, or actually the West Coast's I-5, 400,000 watt EV charge.
What executive drives that road regularly?
Oh, I know. Well, it goes all the way from Canada to Mexico. I mean, it goes all the way down the West Coast. This is part of Mercedes-Benz's $1 billion plan to build 2,000 new EV charging hubs across the globe. Not just in the U.S. Its first station, complete with swanky waiting area and 400 kilowatt charging speeds, opened in Atlanta last year, but now they're going to do them in Starbucks. I like EVs. I'm happy to ride them, but that's because I'm a woke liberal son of a bitch. So that's all I can say.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad I can charge.
Charge up your body and your car.
Yeah,
once.
get a little shot of something and a little caffeine in you.
Yeah.
FTC has fired a warning shot, says Tech Dirt, at companies over right to repair violations. It all boils down to the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. Companies apparently, I didn't know this, are not allowed to claim that using third-party parts or repair shops violates warranty coverage. And yet many companies do that. In 2022, they took action against Harley-Davidson for saying the use of third-party repair parts and facilities violated motorcycle warranties. They took similar action against Weber Grills and Westinghouse. Now there are 8 new companies. 4 air purifier sellers, Aris Health, Blue Air, Medfly Air, and Orancy. A treadmill maker called In Movement. And of more interest to our audience, gaming hardware companies, AS Rock, Zotac, and Gigabyte. FTC says you cannot tell customers that using third-party parts and repair shops will violate your warranty. They're being put on notice. They've got to stop saying that on the box. They have to review their box stickers and promotional warranty materials to make sure they don't imply warranty coverage is conditioned on the use of specific parts or services. So this is informational. Everybody should know this. Yet that's illegal. And it has been for some time because thanks to the Magnuson Moss. Okay. Oh, did we talk about the fact that the Kaspersky lab,
right? We talked about the
Russian antivirus company has been banned since it began a couple of days ago. No, it's beginning in 3 days, starting July 20th. Kaspersky, very popular antivirus, been used in the United States since 2005. My colleague John C. Dvorak always recommended Kaspersky. I think because he knew the founder, Eugene Kaspersky, who had gone to a Russian military school and then had worked for the Russian military before starting his antivirus.
Dvorak did, or Kaspersky?
Kaspersky. John just liked Eugene. Eugene Kaspersky was one of those guys, you meet him at CES and it's a party and drink vodka and stuff. So Kaspersky says they're just going to get out of the United States. They're going to start winding down U.S. operations, eliminate U.S.-based positions as a result of the ban. They had initially said we're going to fight it. But they said after carefully examining and evaluating the impact of the U.S. legal requirements, we've made this sad and difficult decision as business opportunities in the country are no longer viable.
Why did it ban Kaspersky software?
Because he's Russian. He's Russian. It's from Moscow. And there was always this. Part of this came from the accusation that Kaspersky had something to do with the exfiltration of some NSA spy tools. A NSA contract worker had brought home these spy tools, and it's believed he had Kaspersky's antivirus on his computer that he was looking at these with, that the antivirus correctly, by the way, identified it as malware, and then, as many antivirus programs do, quarantined the NSA spy tools and sent them back to the home office, which was in Moscow. Okay.
Hey.
Kaspersky denied that anyone used its software to search for secret information on customer machines, said that the tools on the NSA workers' machines were detected in the same way all antivirus software detects files it deems suspicious and then quarantines or extracts them for analysis. They said once Kaspersky discovered that the code its antivirus software detected on the NSA workers' machine were not malicious programs, but source code in development by the U.S. government, Eugene Kaspersky says, I told the workers, delete the code. Just get rid of it. We don't need it. It's possible, however, that it was passed on to the Russians because that code was eventually escaped and, in fact, was used against American citizens in hacking attacks. Bad guys got a hold of it.
My guess, just guess, stupid, ignorant, but what hell, I'm a podcaster, so I can say anything I want, is that Kaspersky was probably okay through the years, but once things got crazy in Russia, it was not a good risk.
Survival,
Yeah.
And he had connections to the Russian military. A second story that I'm reading from ZetterZeroDay.com. Second story claimed Israeli spies caught Russian government hackers using Kaspersky software to search customer systems for files containing U.S. secrets. Also, Kaspersky denies that. In any event, the Commerce Department initially had told, I think this was a couple of years ago, had said, and we reported this, you can't use Kaspersky if you work in the government or work with the government. Now they're saying we're going to ban it. Commerce officials say they acted after they were alarmed to discover that U.S. state and local governments and critical infrastructure was using Kaspersky antivirus. So they banned it. I guess I can't complain. Asked if officials had evidence. This is a little bit like the TikTok. But, the thing about TikTok, that reason I think it's worth defending is it's used by American creators to make
speech.
To speech, but also to make a living, and it's really a useful tool. Kaspersky, I mean, there's a lot of
it's about security,
and so yes, it's a little closer to home, right? asked if officials had evidence the Russian government was using Kaspersky software to spy on customers. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo and other government officials declined to say. I think it's probably because it's Russian and it's security software. It's maybe a little different than DJI and TikTok, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah, it's not great to have security concerns about your security software.
Yeah.
Right.
Generally.
That's what I was trying to say.
yeah,
It's
people
typically a disqualifying event.
yes, people let that stuff. I mean, it works at a lower level. They let it into their computers. They have access to all sorts of stuff. Okay, I told you there wasn't a lot today. Did I mention that? Are
You're
you
doing such a good job of selling this show.
I told you the show would be boring today. Wait a minute, let me see. Do we have?
I told you you'd have a bad time listening to us.
We
today.
told you shouldn't listen. Google is in talks to buy Wiz.
Yeah, there's some Google news down there. There's some really interesting stories. Yes.
This is. Should we do? Well, it's not changelog. It's just a Google story. It would be, according to the New York Times, its biggest acquisition ever. $23 billion. I don't even. Wiz is an enterprise security company. I'm not that familiar with it.
And fairly new, I think,
Yeah.
or at least new as in its heat.
Yeah, this is more than they paid for Motorola. Double what they paid for Motorola in 2012. It has not gone through yet, but there is perhaps some antitrust concern there. Regulators according to the New York Times, always quick to take a shot. Regulators under President Biden have taken a hard line against acquisitions by all tech giants and corporate consolidation in general.
That's Lena Khan, I assume. That's
Yeah.
from her. Yeah.
So there's one Google story.
The next story down I found very interesting. I DM'd
Vincent Schmalbach.
I have never heard of him, so I
Schmalbach?
don't know much.
Yeah.
SEO expert. But what he contends in this piece is that Google is changed its default to not indexing everything on the web.
What?
This is a big story if true. And I mean, it makes sense because everybody screams Google's ruined. Well, no, because the web is ruined because everybody's throwing this junk on, and now with AI going on and all these fake reviews and all this stuff. And so he says that they're now engaged in selective indexing. He says, from my experience, important if there, Google now seems to operate on a default to not exit basis. It only includes content in its index when it perceives a genuine need based on, again, this is him speaking, various factors. 1, extreme content uniqueness. 2, perceived authority. 3, brand recognition, makes sense. And 4, temporary indexing and de-indexing. And he says he's seen cases where they'll index something because it's breaking news or something, but soon after will be de-indexed. If this is the case, I DM'd Danny Sullivan, but it was not too long before the show when I found this. I haven't heard back to ask, is this the case? Because if so, big. Because on the one hand, it's an effort, I think, to get a more quality view of the web and Google. On the other hand, what if you start something new? How do you say, hello, I'm here. Can you notice me? That's going to be tough.
This is the problem Google faces. He even calls it an existential crisis. There's a lot of crap, awful lot of gaming going on of Google. So they need to have some sort of way of beyond PageRank did it all for a long time. PageRank, the basic premise of PageRank is a page will rank higher in Google search if it is authoritative, and the way they determine authoritativeness is how many other pages link to it. But the problem is
with greater weight given to those that themselves have more links.
Right. Yeah, it goes all the way down. So if you have an authoritative site linked to you, that's good. I call it Google juice. But it's been gamed so much now that maybe PageRank doesn't work that well. Google says they still use it, but he's saying, yeah, maybe not. What they're looking for is sites that have EAT, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Now,
which they've said for a while in terms of where they rank things, but if they don't even index things, if you can't find it on Google, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, if something's not indexed on Google, it's in effect being not on the net.
It's
right?
the tree that fell in the forest that
no one can hear it. Yeah. He says Google has transformed from a comprehensive search engine into something more akin to an exclusive catalog.
Which as a Google user is not a bad thing.
Well, but no, I believe that's true. In the old days, no matter what you searched for, there's always some pages. It seems to me more and more, maybe I'm searching for more abstruse content. I don't think so. That more and more I'm finding no results for stuff I search for.
Yeah, I
fancy
agree.
pants. Yeah, it's hard to find fancy pants that are along your specs.
It is difficult to find fancy pants that are as fancy as you want them.
That you wear with a tunic, fancy pants that go with tunics, very
those
hard.
would be some fancy pants.
Needless to say, my ex-wife was a natty dresser. She actually really is quite a natty. Tunic, tops, and pants on Amazon. You see, this is the problem.
Squirrel.
Yeah. We're back on tunics. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
that was an interesting story.
One guy saying it.
Yeah, I know.
But it kind of rings true. I hate to say it, and it would make sense. And I don't even blame Google because I feel like they're trying to do a good job. It's harder and harder, isn't it?
And they know what AI is going to bring to the web, and it's going to ruin the web. But the other thing is, if you add now onto this the fact that so on Facebook the other day, I wrote something on my blog, and I wrote a paragraph on Facebook, and I linked to it on my blog. They took it down.
Facebook did.
Facebook took it down, and I of course complained. I haven't heard from Facebook. I didn't do anything. So I complained. I whined about it on Facebook. Why did they take it down?
They didn't just derank the post. The post was removed.
Nope, removed. And the first reference I saw had no explanation, no way to appeal. The next one said it was self-promotion.
That's all Facebook post is.
You can't self-promote on Facebook.
Exactly. So they've brought news down to next to nothing. They're bringing links down. And if you want to start something new now, if you're, let's say, in the news business, you want to start something new, you want to find an audience, you can't do it socially anymore, and you can't do it through the web anymore. And it's unclear how you're going to get discovered through AI, if at all. And so it's going to be very difficult, I think, to break into things.
Have you all heard of dead internet theory?
Yeah.
What is that?
There was a recent update to this.
That theory of the internet being just bots and AI at this point.
There's nothing left.
Yeah. People don't make stuff for the web anymore.
What are they? So you're saying they don't do websites?
The dead internet theory is this is from Wikipedia, an online conspiracy theory that asserts that the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content manipulated by algorithmic curation to intentionally manipulate the population and minimize organic human activity. But I do think that there's a kernel of truth there.
Exactly. I don't think
the idea
that's happening, but that's
the idea that a significant percentage of a percentage of what you are seeing online increasingly is not posts by people you organically have followed. It is somehow automated or regurgitated links or regurgitated content from years ago. It is that the internet feels less fresh and current.
Maybe that's because we're less fresh.
Well, speak for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Paris is fresh.
I'm fresh. I'm hip. I'm young.
It's it's at this point, all we can say is that it's a interesting theory that rings true, but Google's not saying, and we may not know. We may never.
Yeah, and
and it's not all dead.
Like
there's some.
I think that it's often used to refer to the observable increase in content generated by ChatGPT or LLMs that you start to see on Reddit posts where you're like, was this written by a real human or is this someone just kind of sicking an LLM to build up karma or followers on an account for some purpose? I don't yet know.
Wow. I never think that. Maybe I should start. I feel like when I'm reading Reddit, and I guess it depends on, are there any subreddits that you think are particularly prone to this?
Off the top of my head, no, but I would assume it's things like the most popular subreddits. Like, I think you see this a lot with like when people, obviously I don't know whether or not it's true or not, but I think on Reddit people like to call out like perceived bot accounts when you look at their posting history and realize they're just automatically reposting old, like other people's content again and again to get your account up to a high amount of karma so that you could sell it to someone. So I think like in subreddits like Ask Reddit or things like that, whatever you'd say is like the top 10, 20 subreddits, that's where you'd see these claims popping up more often.
I also must be following places where that doesn't. Nobody wants to karma farm on the subreddits that I'm on. I guess that's probably the problem here.
Good for you. It's probably not a problem.
Yeah. Gosh, I think don't you think you would recognize AI generated?
You know what's a good
prose?
example of this?
What?
The things, exactly, because you would recognize it in some ways. You've seen those posts going around that are like a Facebook post of a really wacky image posted with a caption that doesn't really make sense. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yes,
Like-
I know what you're talking about. Those are the worst.
It's often like a weird hodgepodge of like a person that kind of looks old over a birthday cake that is like made of tires or something that says like, it's my 107th birthday. I'm a veteran. Make a wish. And like, or like, all I need is like likes for my birthday.
Where do you
I'll
see
find it.
this?
And what is
Insta?
the goal?
I see
Karma
people
farming.
reposting it on, Instagram or Twitter. Let me see, Facebook.
It's engagement farming. It's
Yeah.
because if you put something nonsensical, then people will ask like, "What do you mean?" or "What are you talking
Oh,
about?"
I
or
see
whatever.
that on Twitter actually. Yeah, I see that on X. I think.
So it's
Yeah.
an engagement hack. Yeah.
Yeah, and what did they gain? Twitter's full of games that I never understood, like bots following you. Are they hoping you'll interact with them, or I don't know.
I mean, I think it's interesting now. You don't really see that as much because Twitter has made it very expensive to operate automated accounts. I mean, now you have a different sort of, there used to be genuine bots that were like, if you followed them and you wanted to, every time you said rabbit bot, draw me a picture of a rabbit, it would. Now you don't see those fun ones anymore. Now you see like my Twitter DMs from people I don't follow is all bot accounts at a level that I've never experienced. Today is my 15-year anniversary of being on Twitter, unfortunately. In my 15 years on
Congratulations.
Twitter or X, I've never seen this much spam.
How do you
but
know
I
it's
get
your
probably
15th
like
year? Did they
it
send
gives
you a
you a
little cake?
notification.
Aw,
Yeah, they send you like a little thing to post.
nice.
So let me look at my messages right now from hi, do you often go online for this? Says Donna Bruce, follow me and make friend.
Yeah.
Hi, gorgeous queen. What if I deposit money to your PayPal?
There
What
you
will you
go.
do with it?
Yeah.
All this stuff. I get
Yeah.
like 3 of these a day.
I get simply hi.
Yeah, I get a lot of those.
That's all.
Too.
Just hi.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was watching a crazy clip on Twitter.
Of what?
No, it's not. It's just this is how they get you.
This is why it works. Yeah.
This is why it works. You know, I'm trying to do my job here, trying to make cogent comments, and I foolishly opened X, and then I'm going, oh. That's
All right, you got to describe it now. What squirreled you?
Let me see if I can go back to it. See how you react to this. Well, here's a good one. Here's how a backdraft can happen when a house is on fire. There's
That's
some firemen.
From
Reasonable.
historic vids.
Yeah,
This is
they
exactly
put up a
the
lot
sort
of
of
that
content.
stuff. Yeah, this is just garbage content. There's some newsy
Wow,
content.
it's all videos. I don't have.
Oh, man, I don't
they're
have
going
that.
for TikTok, baby. This is
Well, no, it's because you pause on them.
yeah. If I just went
It's your
boop,
fault.
boop, 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 I wouldn't see any.
Oh, but I don't get that.
That's all I
geez,
get.
I
It's
don't
not
get this
Twitter
is
at
so
all.
many videos. I've never gotten
You
this
know
many
what's
videos.
interesting about Twitter is everybody seems to have a different Twitter.
Yeah,
You know?
no two people on earth see the same
Yeah,
Twitter or
yeah.
Facebook. Yes. That's why the idea that something is trending is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because the numbers for the most seen thing have tiny numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, I
There
mean,
is no mass.
It's just stuff. I just see this stuff, and I get like, here's a guy samuraiing a watermelon, posted by Liberty
It's
Axe.
like BuzzFeed. That's because you looked up axes and
No, it's just
no,
random.
that was Paris. Who did
This
that?
is for you. This now if I go to my following feed, it's people I follow, and so that's it's the same 3 pictures of
Well, that's because he has COVID.
1,
so
2,
it's news.
3, 4 of the same picture.
They're repeating the
5.
same story.
Oh, it's the
It's
same
news,
story.
Leo. It's
6.
news. It's okay.
Okay. But
Yeah,
that's-
everybody's retweeting the news about the president. That's not that surprising.
But that's not helpful. Is it?
Blame your friends.
Yeah, that's not X's fault. That is your friend's fault because this is
They all think that they are the only ones who have the news.
You know what I like seeing when I go to X? Right there on the top, live on X. We are, admittedly, we're not the number 1 video. The number 1 video is Las Vegas City Council considers LDS temple plan. But we are the number 2.
We lose to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently 713 people want to know what the Las Vegas City Council is up to. Only 273.
Leo, you got to watch for a minute. Maybe there's a fist fight. You got to turn it on for a second.
Here we go. This is fascinating.
I don't see any fist fight.
Please do not allow anything over 150 feet, not only for the ethics.
She
sounds emotional.
She seems very emotional about this.
At 11 p.m. Thank you. I'm entering all of this into the record, please.
Fine.
Oh,
Man, that is
those
so
kind of
much
people.
emotion for a
Please.
Please, not after 11 p.m.
Now, this guy's in a suit. Maybe he is a Mormon.
Well, that's the pro and con. So she's
Yeah.
the con.
Well, it's a man, so he's going to have a smarter and less emotional opinion, clearly, is what you mean.
Clearly,
500
yes.
feet of the new temple site. I'm the owner and broker of luxury homes of Las Vegas and personally sell over 100 million in residential real estate every year.
Okay, I understand now why everybody wants to see this.
See this
You know
over
what's
us.
great, though? They're now watching this on our stream, so we're going to get the benefit. Yep, you see, we went up. We're now 277 viewers.
And those are all those people who want to hear about the LDS temple. Welcome to This Week in Google. Gotcha.
Aha! And you thought you were whatever.
Can't even finish the thought.
I care so little. So the dead internet in mass media is dying, apparently, according
Yes,
to
it is.
BuzzMachine.com. The death throes. And is that because of the coverage of the presidential election?
No, it's much bigger than that. But yeah, I'm pissed about
Jeff's
how
mad
they're covering it.
online.
I'm very mad.
Can you
these
believe
days.
that?
But not mad enough to avoid quoting the Gutenberg parenthesis.
I find every opportunity I can.
He is the
Gotta
author,
sell.
of course, of the Gutenberg parenthesis, a fine book
So
available at gutenbergparenthesis.com.
.com with discount codes, people.
Yes, there you go. It's actually quite a good book. And I can't now. When's the new one coming out? The Web We Weave.
October.
Oh, that's a good one. You're going to be competing against my son, though. I got to warn you.
Yes, I know. But I'm wondering what the latest is on that.
I saw the first hardcover copies of the
Ooh, cool.
of the cookbook. He said, I only have 4. You can't have it. But I looked at it. It was beautiful. We did give it to my dad, who was celebrating his 91st birthday, and I thought,
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
And Henry, my son, wrote in here the 3rd generation of Laportes to publish a book, and so it was kind of cool. My dad has
yay.
published books, and I have published books, and so now Henry joins the club, the fraternity.
What did your dad's dad do?
It's my dad, his grandfather.
I know. What did your father's father
my grandfather.
do? No, your grandfather. In other words,
My
yes,
father's father. Yes, he was
Yes.
an architect. In fact, designed his most famous work was what's the big Catholic church in New York City?
St. Patrick's.
Yeah, St. Patrick's. He designed an alcove at St. Patrick's.
Cool.
That's cool.
He also was, I think, a frustrated cartoonist. He really wanted to be a cartoonist, and his cartoons are very funny. but he ended up being an
A
architect.
frustrated cartoonist is a very good job.
That's a very angry person. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, his cartoons were really fun.
Were the Laportes recently on these shores or going way back?
Oh, no, it goes way back. 17th century. Yeah.
Oh,
on
wow.
that side. And on the other side goes even farther back to the Mayflower.
No.
Yes.
Blue blood.
Blue blood, baby. Yeah, my
DAR.
Yeah, my grandmother was in the Mayflower Society. I am the direct descendant of gosh, I used to remember his name. Now I can't even remember his name. Anyway, he was on the Mayflower.
Soon we'll see all the names on the chat.
Yeah.
They'll find it for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, actually, you know what? I could do that. It was Edmund something. Let's see. Probably there weren't that many people on the Mayflower, right? Who were the signatories of the Mayflower Compact? He was, I'm trying to remember what he did. He, I'm sure I could find it. Let's see. There's Miles Standish and John
Edmund
Alden.
Margison?
No.
Edmund Freeman?
Was it Edward Fuller? I think it was Edward Fuller.
Oh, no, it's Edward.
Yeah, not Edmund. It was Edward Fuller. He arrived with his wife and son Samuel in company with his brother Samuel. Names were in short supply in those days.
Survived by their son, Samuel.
Samuel and Edmund is pretty much everybody. And then Samuel joined. Yeah, that's right. He died.
He was an orphan.
They died soon after arrival in the settlement. That's him. Yeah, I remember that. And then, but they continued on. He had a kid, so they continued on. He was in the growing group of colony orphans. And but they continued on, and eventually, generation after generation, I was born.
Do you think he knew when they were pulling up on the Mayflower that one day his progeny would be a podcaster?
Someday, your people will become podcasters. What? What is that?
What pods are they casting? Witchcraft.
It's witchcraft, definitely. Google reportedly, according to Engadget, offered EU cloud firms over $500 million to keep fighting against Microsoft. By the way, this is from Lawrence Bonk. It didn't work, and the organization entered into a settlement. Actually, the story comes from Bloomberg. So I'd like to give the original source. So we had Engadget in there, but I'll give it to Bloomberg, Samuel Stolten. Bonk just took it from Stolten. Google offered cloud firms 470 million euros to fight Microsoft in a failed attempt to derail their antitrust settlement with Microsoft that freed the U.S. software giant from a potentially costly EU case. Oh, this is the CISP story. Actually, we talked about this on Windows Weekly. Cloud infrastructures services providers in Europe, or CISP, ditched the complaint at the EU's antitrust arm over Microsoft's software licensing processes, even though Alphabet said, take some money, keep suing. Wow.
Oof.
Google's
Microsoft
offer.
v. Google is a fascinating back and forth.
No kidding.
Screw you. No, screw you.
Yeah. Google's offer was conditional on CISP maintaining its EU antitrust complaint. This is all out in the open.
Well, Microsoft has funded all kinds of industry organizations to go after Google.
Right.
So it plays both ways.
And by the way, a founding member of CISP, Amazon Web Services. Interesting. You'd think they would not be happy with Microsoft particularly. Google has long trailed Amazon and Microsoft in the cloud market, although, according to Bloomberg, it's starting to see impressive results. It broke even for the first time last year, and in fact, even posted a profit of $900 million last quarter. It's viewed as one of the firm's best bet for growth as the core search advertising business matures. Though I guess it was worth 470 million euros. That's incredible. I can't believe that's out in the public. Wouldn't that be, wouldn't that be illegal? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just...
No, it's what trade associations are for.
Wow.
Hey, corporations are people too. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I guess.
More than we can.
Yeah. All right, there's a lot of AI stories here, Jeff. That you put in. Is there?
Let's see what's actually worthy of talking about.
We already mentioned the OpenAI Ariana Huffington.
I've got one that I want to talk about. It's not in the AI section, but it's that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has a $27 million mansion that's famous to me because when all the OpenAI stuff went down, information reporters as well as later New York Times and Wall Street Journal reporters camped out outside. Turns out it's a lemon he's accusing it of, with the pool leaking water into the foundation and whatnot.
So this is a
Do
brand.
watch the video. The video is amazing.
Oh, we should play the audio. Will we get taken down if we play the audio from this?
And in San Francisco,
it's a guy talking.
That sort of space is extremely hard to come by.
This is the guy who represents the company that built it, that sold it to Sam Altman for $27 million. He's now suing them for millions.
With sauna,
those stones. It's got a sauna. It's got a steam room. It's got a massage room.
The quote-unquote shoddy workmanship has led to the pool leaking a flood of water into the home's lower level last August.
It is.
And
the pool is a
sewage.
four-way. What do you call them?
Infinity pool.
Borderless. Infinity pools.
Infinity
Four-way,
pool.
always,
Yeah.
all sides.
Altman's legal team estimates the cost to repair the pool would be upwards of $4 million, and that's not counting the, quote, unconnected bathroom sewer line that dumped raw sewage on the ground, numerous leaking irrigation lines, and the water intrusion at skylights, among other issues.
One of the complaints was that the developer didn't hire qualified contractors and then didn't pay them on time, so they retaliated by filling drainage and sewer pipes with contractor bags and debris.
Oh my God!
So it couldn't happen
The
to a
house
nicer
notably,
fella. It's a nice
the house notably has a bat cave leading into the garage.
Yeah, I think they showed that in this this Troon video. They show the bat cave.
It has a wellness cottage on property.
That's where the sauna and the steam and the massage are. Those stones came from the original building in 1906.
Oh wow!
Which was the year of the earthquake. So God knows, maybe they fell off. I don't know.
So there was a building there, and they tore it down to build.
I don't know when.
Yeah.
Well, there has to have been something downtown San Francisco.
I guess there's always something. It's at the
It's a
top
city
of Lombard
block.
Street. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
6 lots.
Altman last year, this is from the Daily Beast, Altman last year told Time about another headache with his home that didn't have anything to do with build quality. Quote, "This coyote moved into my house and scratches on the door outside," Altman told the magazine, which also ran pictures of the wild animal on the swanky property.
See?
Quote,
See?
"It's very cute, but it's very annoying at night."
Yeah. It is the coyote's territory.
It's actually a media executive.
It's okay. AI will take care of all.
Wow.
Sam, don't worry. Don't worry, Sam.
Yeah.
There
It's an
are
AI
some very
coyote.
dramatic photos of this coyote, which I'll put in the chat.
Oh, do.
Coyote had a full photo shoot.
Yeah, he's quite a beaut. Hello, I'm your coyote. I'll be your coyote for the evening.
Hey, you didn't get a permission to use my material in your large language model?
Oh, he's sleeping on the couch. Aw.
Oh, he's
It's
very
pretty
cute.
cute, honestly.
Is it? Oh, and there's you see, there's the coyote being scared by the roadrunner. So that's what he needed. He needed a roadrunner in the house. Well, you just call animal control, Sam, and they come and they get the coyote. In fact, it might even be Micah Sargent who comes and gets him. He does that kind of thing, He rescues animals.
Really?
He does that sort of thing? He rescues coyotes from billionaires' homes?
Well, not that sort of thing, but he does rescue animals. He volunteers for one of our local. He loves animals, and one of our local, I guess, animal rescue societies. Yeah.
God, he's amazing.
I know.
But we do that.
He got trained in how to. He showed me a video of him catching a raccoon. I don't know. Am I not supposed to talk about this? Is this private? I don't know. I'm impressed. He's a hero.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It was a raccoon who'd gotten astray, and he has to put on these gloves, and he sits there it was an owl. It was a barn owl, and he sits there very quietly till the owl trusts him. And he goes, ah, and he grabs it, and he puts it in a bag, and he runs off. Anyway, that's what I saw in the video. It could be, there's more to the story. No, he's really, he loves animals. That's really great. We didn't do this. Come to think of it, we did this on Mac Break Weekly yesterday, but I think you might have something to say about this, Jeff. You probably know Tabula.
Tabula.
Oh, Tabula. So Tabula is, they call it the chum, right?
The chum bucket, yeah.
Chum bucket. They're the
company
company
at the bottom of the stories that gets you to click whether you like to or not.
Yeah. Well, you won't believe these celebrities and how they look today, that kind of thing. And apparently, they're still, not only are they still around, they're making big deals. Tabula's revenue as of last year was $1.4 billion. They did a 30-year deal with Yahoo. 30.
Listen to that. The idea that Yahoo's going to be around for 30 years?
30. And the deal is for native advertising, which is a little scary.
Yeah, advertising.
That's the ad that looks like an article, but it's not. And maybe isn't as well, warning labels aren't as obvious as they ought to be. So now they're doing a deal with Apple. The privacy company.
Classy.
Why does Apple need to be doing a deal with Tabula?
Lay down with dogs, man. Apple's going to come up with fleas. But Apple has always failed at selling ads.
Exactly.
That's why the privacy was a bug, not a feature, and it became something to sell because they always failed at ads. So I guess they want more money and go to Tabula. Adam said, the head of Tabula is a very nice guy, but they've crapified the web.
I forgot, but you showed us this last year. Paris Martineau not only knows what a chum box is, she went as a chum box for Halloween last year.
That's right.
And I still argue I should have won the Office Halloween costume, but I did not.
I think so. What did win? Did you tell us?
Oh, I can check. Hold on.
This is so funny. So she has a poster board around her neck on a rope that says news from around the web. And then, did you make these up or were these real?
Yeah, I did. I made some of these
up.
Course. Some of them were real.
You
some
won't believe what the Teletubbies sun baby Teletubbies sun baby looks like now.
That's real?
Yeah, that's a real one. That's the one that inspired. And same with Top Gut Doctor. I beg all that Americans to throw out this vegetable, and it's a photo of an avocado screaming. That's also real. The ones that are fake are leading doctor reveals #1 reason you're going to hell, and a photo of a shoe being boiled that I got from a early Gen AI thing. It says old man got ripped fast by doing this one weird trick daily.
That is actually brilliant. Anyway, why Apple?
You should have won.
I don't think Apple's going to do that, but they are going to use Tabula's sales team to sell advertising for Apple News and Apple stocks. But this is the thing that scared me, and it scared Jason Snell when we read this yesterday from Axios. Tabula, and by the way, this is Adam Signola telling Axios this. So, he's not lying, I don't think. Tabula will power native advertising placements in Apple News and Apple stocks. Again, with the native.
Interesting.
Is there any other way to define? Could it mean something else? Native advertising? It doesn't mean a chum box, right? Or does it?
Oh, it can, yeah.
Okay.
But I would assume that Apple wouldn't have signed this deal to put a chum box in their stocks and news platform.
People, by the way,
that would
pay
go
for
against
Apple
the whole
News.
Apple.
That's not free.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Interesting.
They apparently had an exclusive deal with NBC Universal that didn't go so well. So Tabula's got the deal along with Yahoo. Yahoo last month announced a deal with grocery giant Kroger to place ads on Yahoo's ads on Kroger's retail media network. What a world. Meanwhile, I'm going hat in hand to our audience saying, can you help a podcaster out? Advertising dollars have just gone. We only have one ad on the show today, and that ad's selling for a fraction of the cost it used to. But I'm not gonna do a deal with Tabula to have an AI Leo sell you, brain pills. So we're hoping that you might help us out. $7 a month to join Club Twit. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get additional content. And I think with the new Twit, as we mentioned, we're closing the studio in a few weeks. We're going to, everybody's going home to work from home. So Benito will be working at his house producing this show, and it will be coming out of my house, out of the attic. And we're going to save a lot of money that way, but we really do want to continue to do what we're doing. We'd like to add new shows. And I think for that to happen, we got to get your support. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit, sign up, join the club. There's a wonderful group of people. You can hang out with them in the Discord and hang out with me and all of our hosts as we do more and more stuff in the club. I'm hoping now, having this in the attic, that I can just, toddle upstairs and, do an hour or two, do some soft chew. It'll be fun. So please join us. twit.tv/clubtwit.
What's the tackiest advertiser that's ever wanted to advertise on Twit? Do you have a few you remember?
Yeah, no, I don't really remember because it's so quick for me to say, yeah, we're not doing that. We get, every once in a while somebody wants to sell gold. I always say no to that. Or e-cigs. There are a lot of supplements.
Cryptocurrency?
Oh, yeah, there's been. I always say no to cryptocurrency. Supplement sellers. The truth is, I don't think we get as weird a batch of stuff as like broadcast radio, which will take anything.
Oh, satellite radio is the worst. California psychics drives me crazy.
Yeah, we never had a psychic asked to be on the show.
You just have them on the air instead.
Yes.
It's true. Every week, here we are predicting the future.
Well, you have heard that there is a satanic panic going on TikTok. You've heard that, have you?
I have heard that. There was a kind of fun, not that tech-related article put out by Harps this week.
Close enough
about the hot new trend of TikTok exorcisms and kind of the exorcism
it's their cover story
in social media.
On Harper's.
It is their cover story.
Yeah.
And I'll read you a little excerpt from here. Theirs is spiritual warfare with the algorithm in mind. Exorcisms that come with online subscription plans and TikTok and Facebook schematics, whose videos carry click-worthy titles like, "She was tormented by demonic witchcraft spirits." "Can demons read our thoughts?" and "Demons leaving people on a Zoom call? Check it out." The inflection was because it was partially in all caps. These media ministers live stream and cross post. They produce movies, write how-to books, and go on national tours.
Well, I'm not surprised. Did you ever see Gene Scott on Hebrews? Do you know what I'm talking about, Jeff?
No.
No.
So he had a channel, maybe it was only in the Bay Area, but I don't think so. I think it was national. He was a TV preacher, but he didn't, as far as I could tell, he didn't do much preaching. He would just sit there in a cowboy hat.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Gene Scott, does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I'm afraid people are going to say that he looks like one of us.
Does he look like, he actually looks like Boris Johnson more.
Yeah, he does now. Yeah, well, as he got older.
Yeah. PhD, Stanford University,
Oh,
please.
he got it from Stanford, I think.
Yeah, well, maybe he did get a PhD in theology from Stanford, but that his main thrust was just sitting there and saying, "Send me money, send me money." Kind of like me in the Club Twit pitches, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe if I got a cowboy hat and a three-piece suit. But where is he going to go? Somebody like that, TikTok. Nobody's going to watch you on channel 72. You do it on TikTok.
I guess, yeah.
Right?
Oh, look up the pictures of Gene
where the
Scott.
demons are going to be exorcised.
You think he looks like
speaking
who?
of
well, no, he just changed over the years.
Well, no, he does look like a cross between you and Jeff aged up and sent back in time.
This is towards the end. This is what he looked like.
Yes.
That's you guys.
But the great thing is he was always on. Like he was on 24/7. So if you were a little stoned and it was late at night, you just turn that on and let it run. And he'd get upset for no reason, start yelling at people. He does,
never do that.
Wait, how did he afford the airtime?
Well, he would ask for donations, and
He asked for the
got a lot of
donations,
them.
yeah. And you get
People fall
It's
for
just
these sort of
self-perpetuated?
scams.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I don't know why you would donate to him. He does.
Have you guys heard
You think
of
he looks
Peter
like a cross?
Popoff's Miracle Spring Water?
Oh yeah, Peter Popoff, of course. Yes.
Another classic scammer.
Another class.
I was just about to.
The ad was playing in a City MD urgent care a couple months ago here, and I Googled it, and I was like, wait a second, this has been going on for how many decades? It's a man whose whole shtick is that he'll sell you spring water that'll cause miracles to
But
happen in
wait,
your life.
it says, note, do not ingest the miracle spring water. So you can request it, but don't ingest it. Okay. So what are you supposed to do with it? You're just supposed to look at it.
Here's a thing from truthandadvertising.org. Within a couple weeks, the water arrived in the mail, along with a long letter from Popoff, in which she prophesied a sudden release of money. Somewhere between 1,900 and 19,000 was headed our way. All we had to do was use the water as directed in one other thing: send exactly $19. Why? Because 1 is the number of the father and 9 is the number of new birth. It's a really interesting little takedown the Truth in Advertising does. It kept me entertained my entire emergency room or urgent care room wait. Basically, it kind of goes back and forth with this person sending increasingly elaborate letters and little gifts and trinkets to anybody who replies to the Miracle Spring Water ad until they get you.
So I have just sent 2 pictures into the Discord, but I accidentally sent them both to my wife, who's probably going to come in and put me in the old folks' home for what I'm sending her. Like, what are you doing?
So you're okay, though? You were in urgent care. Everything's all right? You just stub your toe or something? Or?
Oh, yeah, no, I've had a cold that had been going on for a while.
I have an urgent care story for you from Brooklyn.
Ooh.
So because as you already know, I put newspapers in my kitchen cabinets. I didn't cook. Every few years I would decide, no, I've got to learn to cook. And I had inherited some pots and pans from my grandmother. I decided I was going to make asparagus. I like asparagus, but I didn't have a regular asparagus pot. I just had a pot, so I put the water in and I kind of steamed the asparagus in the pot.
You were going to boil? Okay, steam.
Kind of both, you know. But the handle was loose on it, and as I took it off, all the boiling water fell on my stocking feet.
Oh, not good.
And so it hurt. It hurt. And so this is before the days of Lyft and Uber, and I tried to call a cab, and it was a very short way to the hospital in Brooklyn. Couldn't get it. I finally called a car service. They wouldn't take me. Then I said, okay, for $20, will you take me? Finally, somebody took me. So I get to the ER room in deep Brooklyn, and there's gunshot wounds around me. There's everything else around me. And the doctor said they wanted to put a badge on me that said victim of affluence. What did me in was asparagus.
The last time you ever cooked.
It was that.
They looked at you and they're like, who did this to you? And you're like,
Affluence.
asparagus.
Oh.
They should have said victim of asparagus.
Yes, that too. Yes.
So they're asking you what happened, and you said, well, I spilled some hot water on my toes.
Yes. I was making asparagus.
He got a gunshot wound. He's got an axe coming out of the back of his head, but you got some hot water on your toes. Okay, I just want to make sure you understand exactly.
I had to stay out of work for a week. I couldn't get to the office.
Wow, that's very much like Michael Scott and the infamous breakfast sandwich incident.
No, the burnt
I don't
foot,
remember
the
that
burnt
one.
foot.
Yeah, he burned his foot on the
Foreman grill.
Ken Norton.
The Foreman grill.
George Foreman grill. Ken Norton. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, so Michael Scott of The Office likes to wake up to the smell of cooking bacon. So he'd keep a George Foreman grill in his bedroom.
Because I don't have a butler, I have to do it myself.
At the foot of his bed. It is one of the funniest, one of many very, very good Office episodes. Kenya's biggest protest. By the way, I wanted to ask you this. So this is from a really good site called Rest of World at restofworld.org.
They're just great.
They do
From Sophie Schmidt.
global tech stories. And I was thinking about the very good investigative reporting lately from ProPublica. And I think there are, I'm giving money now to the Washington Post and the New York Times and the Financial Times, and I think there may be places I should better spend my journalistic dollars. And I'm wondering if you guys have recommendations. I'm happy to. The information is money well spent, and I guess I kind of.
What sort of news are you looking for?
Well, I'm just thinking. I want to. ProPublica is an example. So is Rest of World, where I feel like I want to support these kind of great grassroots journalistic efforts where they really do investigate. I want investigative journalism. I feel like we really need at this point an independent fourth estate that is going to look into corruption, speak truth to power. Who is that?
I think those are good.
I think the 19th.
The 19th is a really good one.
Okay. What is
that? That's from the Information's Incubator for Media Stars.
Oh, you're kidding. It's 19th.
Oh, I didn't know that.
19th, 19thnews.org.
Yeah, so it's for women in news.
That's a good one.
I like Talking Points Memo for political.
TPM is great.
It's not exclusively like investigative stuff, but 404 Media, which we've talked about a little bit.
Love 404, and I am a member there. I think that's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important, since we do see journalism is struggling, to support independent journalism.
I couldn't agree more. I think I'm in the middle of writing a post saying burn down the house with the old ones.
Yeah.
As
are you. I know I'm very disappointed with the New York Times. And I watched I watched the interview with Joe Biden that what's his name did,
Lester Holt.
Lester Holt, and
that peeved me.
It peeved me too, but it really peeved me at the end because Biden said maybe next time we could talk about issues and things that make a difference to the American people instead of gossip. And I think that we don't. I understand commercial news entities have to focus on revenue and are going to want to do. It's always sensationalism. That's why this exorcist on TikTok doesn't surprise me, because sensationalism breeds sensationalism. Your senses get dulled, and you need something more extreme, and even more extreme, and even more extreme. And that's what's happening in mainstream media. I saw it happen in AM radio. It was really the demise of radio, I think, is they started chasing audience with increasingly sensationalistic hosts. And I see the same thing happening to what we had in the past kind of considered prestige media, like the networks and the big newspapers. It's disappointing.
I'm very proud of the capture I just put up on Discord. I happened to get.
What's with you guys?
Lester Holt.
Come on.
Said Biden to Holt.
Yeah. Although he is wearing a little bit too much man-tan on this one.
Well, no, it's my TV.
Okay.
Is that your tiny little tabletop TV?
Yes, it is. It is. Aww. It is the crappy only one HDMI. He looks like Trump. I know.
He looks like an Oompa Loompa. Yeah, there's something going on. Okay, but that's just the TV. All right.
That's my TV.
What is it with you guys anyway? After all, turn off vivid mode, says Anthony Nielsen. All right. Kenya's biggest protest. This is what made me think of it.
Back to that.
Back to the rest of the world, which is another great one of them. I really do want to support, especially because we don't get much global coverage anymore.
Right? Exactly.
We get horse race coverage of the election, and that's.
It'd be wonderful. I would kill if we could interview Sophie Schmidt on this show.
She's the publisher.
She's the founder.
Founder. Kenya's biggest protest in recent history played out on a walkie-talkie app, Zello. More than 40,000 Kenyans have downloaded Zello since protests began.
Wow.
This is what you've always said, Jeff, is that social media gives people voices, people can organize and get something done through it.
And because the technology was hard to shut down. Last night I spoke at an event was held by Nos. Remember Rabble and Noster? He used to do Scuttlebutt. Now he's doing Noster.
Oh, yeah.
And he started a new thing. And there was a journalist, a very, very smart journalist next to me, who was talking about how to get social media and journalism in authoritarian countries and to get around. And we've got to go back to a distributed world. I'm ashamed of myself that I threw my discourse into Twitter so it could be taken over. And you stayed loyal to Mastodon and ActivityPub that whole time. God bless you.
Which we still run our Mastodon instances at twit.social. It's free, open to all if you are a listener. And I think that's worked really well, both on the forums, which are twit.community, and the Mastodon, which is at twit.social. Because if you don't say, oh, yeah, I saw you talk about this on Twig, or I listened to Twit, or, Leo sent me. If you don't say that, I don't add you. And that, I think, really has made it a very good local Mastodon instance. The content on the local timeline is really good, including people like Glenn Fleischman. And, of course, you're on Mastodon. You're not on twit.social, but you're on Mastodon as well. It's good. It's really good. I like it. It's a little slower.
Yes.
Okay. Zello.
The last one, the only AI story that I would have mentioned,
yes,
is 77. It's real quick. The OpenAI is according to
Andre
Bloomberg
Karpathy, yeah.
No, was that one? Oh, that was a different one.
Oh,
you can do that one.
Well, that's line 77. What would you like to talk about?
What did I say? 1172.
Oh,
but take your choice. You got two. You pick.
Let's look at the OpenAI AGI progress report. This is from Benedict Evans, who actually is a very good blogger, writes about this stuff. This is all very well as a thought experiment, but is there any a priori reason why we know that these are the steps in the order? Bloomberg says OpenAI imagines our AI future.
So they're saying that they're level 1, which is chatbots, true. Level 2 is reasoners, human level problem solving, and they say, Strawberry, their new thing is going to be there.
Okay.
Level 3 is agents, by which time you better trust the thing to go out and act on autonomously. Level 4 is innovators, AI that can aid in invention.
Wow.
And level 5 is organizations. AI can do the work of an organization. It all strikes me as a bit of BS.
I feel like there's a lot of things happening between those steps.
Exactly.
You got, what is it? Chatbots, and then what the second step is?
Suddenly it can reason.
Okay, how are we going from a chatbot that gets every sixth thing wrong to reasoning?
And that has no sense
level
of meaning.
problem solving?
Exactly.
And they think it's a linear path too.
Yeah, I think
right.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting because I think they keep fooling themselves. Well, we're AGI's around the corner. We're almost there, and then when it is, oh boy, we'll be on living on Uranus before you know it. Uranus.
Sorry. I'm sorry. You shouldn't let me near social media. Here's Mark's love on Threads. Kamala
You're
right
watching
now.
Videos again, Leo?
This is a clip.
I thought you were laughing
from
at
Veep.
Jeff saying
this is a clip
Uranus.
from Veep where Julia Louis-Dreyfus, as the vice president, with her team, is running as fast as she can to get probably to the Oval Office because the president has COVID. So, anyway, I don't know. I'm easily amused. This is squirrel. This is the thing. You got to understand. Human, especially male, perception is drawn to motion. So when there's motion,
yeah, it's a boy
and a few
thing.
other things.
Girls, you get some motion in front of me. I'm like, what's that?
I don't know what you do. Are you drawn to motion? I can't speak for you. I can only speak for me. But are you? So if you see if something, it's probably true for you too. If something at the corner of your eye, because that could be a cheetah waiting in the bush to jump out and grab you. So you're attuned to that. If the thing doesn't move, that's why cats sit very, very still before they jump on their prey, because then the prey doesn't see them because they're just sitting there.
So New York Times PitchBot, which I love. I wanted to try to say this before other people say it seriously, but it is probably too late already. Biden is faking COVID as a pretext to step aside.
Okay, we're not here for conspiracy theories. Come on.
Well, it's a joke.
Is it?
That's pitch.
Is it?
Oh, it's
PitchBot is saying that other people.
That's what the New York Times are going to say. I've heard.
You got to understand irony.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's hard
irony.
these days.
It's hard.
New York Times PitchBot at Doug J. Balloon. Is that him? Oh, look.
Yep, that's him.
He has a nice ear bandage. I think we should all wear ear bandages from now on. Okay, that's
too soon?
That's too soon. Clearly too soon.
Well,
Yeah, so these are all ironic. Joe Biden has COVID. Here's why that's bad news for Joe Biden. I get it. I get it now. New York Times
Right.
PitchBot. Whether it's Democrat Kamala Harris encouraging women to support pro-choice legislation or Republican J.D. Vance encouraging women to remain in violent marriages, both parties' VP candidates have strong messages for women. Whoa. Whoa.
Here's my plan. Biden adds 2 extra seats to the Supreme Court, appoints both himself and Kamala Harris, and then Democrats can have a truly open convention.
PitchBot is in a fertile era.
Oh,
I mean, so much insane political news has happened in the last week. It is. I do not envy being a political reporter right now, or ever.
sorry, one more. Times have been tough in this New Jersey town since they closed the old bribe-taking factory. So when Senator Bob Menendez offered a workaround, gold bars, they finally had something to cheer about, but now the woke mob wants to take all that away.
I hate when the woke mob stops
That woke mob.
senators from being corrupt.
They'll do that every time.
Or, I'm sorry, I lied, one more. The Dow keeps closing at record highs, so why does it feel like it keeps closing at record lows? He's brilliant. He's a math professor, I think.
Is he? He is. That's all one guy writing that. That's good. I'm
He's
impressed.
at University. He's at Rochester, and he's. I think that's where he is, somewhere up there in cold country. But the feature was done on him without his real name by one of the papers. But he's the Tom Lehrer of Twitter of our age. You know, I don't know his real name, but he's great.
Oh, Doug Balloon is not his real name.
No.
No.
No. Doug
You
J.
never
Balloon,
know.
gee.
Doug J. Balloon. You never know. You never know.
What was he smoking that day when he started this? And I'll call it Doug J. Balloon.
And he's a math professor. That makes it even better.
Something like that.
Yeah. From The Verge, Samsung. Oh, actually, we got some phone news. Let's take a break, and then we come back. We'll talk about the new Pixel, the Pixel 9, and Samsung's new AI tool on the Galaxy Z Fold 6. You're watching This Week in Google with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. Good to have you here. This is from Allison Johnson reviewing the new tool, the image-generating AI tool. You draw a simple sketch, and it turns it into an image. She says the tool is ridiculous, fun, and slightly worrying. Here's one. An orange cat.
Really big cat.
Really big orange cat. A truck. This is on the Z Fold 6, which is kind of cool. So she took this picture on the left, or just this whole picture. She took a picture of some poppies in a shipyard. She obviously lives in San Francisco. And drew a very crude bumblebee on it, to which the AI responded with a perfect bumblebee. In fact, you would probably know that that's a fake, I would guess.
Yeah.
No obvious
Looks like
giveaways.
a totally real bumblebee.
Yeah. Because that's because it's on a real picture, right? And bumblebees don't have fingers.
There's a lot of tricks going on there. There's also some motion blur.
They're
That
doing some
ghostly
stuff.
pirate ship is fake. Yeah.
Yeah. From Olympic Sculpture Park. That's pretty good. This is fun though. This is just there's nothing wrong with this, right? She drew a giant green plastic bear.
But it's very easy to see where you can take this the wrong way, right?
Right.
Oh, well, yeah.
Put a top hat on a hare. How about that? Well done. I wish every one of these had the original.
I do too.
Yeah, because it'd be fun to see what she's
It's not
doing.
good packaging. Yeah.
Sketch to image is available on the Galaxy Z Fold 6 and the Z Flip 6. They haven't said whether they'll make it available on other Galaxy phones, but that is pretty typical of Samsung. They've also committed to bringing AI features to 200 million phones this year alone. I'm going to have to break out my Flip 5, see if I can do it. It looks like a lot of fun. And we have seen leaks now of the new Google phones, thanks to the French FCC. The Taiwanese
That's the
FCC. No, this is the NCC, the Taiwanese FCC. Apparently, they have revealing photos. They are pretty revealing of the Pixel 9 Pro, the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold.
I think I might have to do it. My battery's going low.
What we have heard, and again, these are rumors, they haven't been announced yet, but we have, although this is really a pretty good rumor because it comes from a national agency that's regulating these things. What we have heard is that the Pixel 9 Pro, not the Fold, but the regular, will have all the same, we'll have the same normal camera, but with a new telephoto camera. It's really, though, the computational photography that Pixels do that make the Pixel images so amazing. The display crease seems somewhat reduced on the Fold. Also slimmer top and bottom bezels than the original Pixel Fold. I am not huge on folding phones. I've had them. I had both the Galaxy Fold and the Galaxy Flip. I like the Flip because it's small, but I ended up using a regular phone. I just, maybe it's just me, but the form factor does not ultimately win. So, Pixel event. I think Google has announced the event. Have they not? Next month?
Yeah, they did. We talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I think it's coming up.
Because they're beating Apple this time.
Yeah, sure. In their dreams.
Take that, Apple.
Yeah, we're going to announce it first anyway. Google announces a surprise Pixel 9 hardware event in August. Let me get the date for you.
Well,
August
not a surprise now.
13th. Made by Google event on the 13th. So
we're in New York or
10 a.m. Pacific.
It's in California, I'm pretty sure.
It's in California because it's at 10 a.m. Pacific. And it looks like it's at Google in Mountain View. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I guess we better be covering that. What day of the week is that?
August
Tuesday.
what?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. So we could, I don't know if we do iOS today that week or the week or the other week. Well, we'll look into it. Remind me, Benito, we got to, maybe Jeff, you'd like to join me August 13th?
Yeah,
Tuesday?
what's the date again? August 13th.
August 13th, 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Pacific.
I already had it in my calendar just because I'm that much of a
I think we'd already discussed this. I'm just,
Did we?
Paris, you're welcome to, too, if you like to talk about Pixel phones.
I probably am going to have to work, to be honest.
I know, you got to wash your hair. I know. Anyway, we will find out if this leak is real, but I think it is, given that it's coming from the Taiwanese FCC. 4 models, 9 Pro, 9 Pro XL, and 9 Pro Fold. This is the Pixel 8 XL Pro. It looks similar, but there's some design changes. It'll be interesting. And that's your Google changelog. No, I haven't changelog. Let's do a changelog. Play the trumpets.
The Google changelog.
Some cool things coming to YouTube Music. Music sound search rolling out. This is official. It's also testing AI-generated conversational radio. You'll have to be a U.S. premium subscriber.
All right.
Like listening to Jason Calacanis for an hour.
So the hum to search is very cool. So you hum to search. You can query it by humming. Like, what's the song? Da 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 da. Do you think it might be able to do that? I don't know. Is it available? Let's see. Some users had it in May before the feature was rolled back for some reason.
Probably because they realized most users are too bad at maintaining pitch.
Tap the magnifying glass icon in the top right of YouTube Music to access a waveform button. No, I mustn't have it. That would be cool though, where you could actually hum to it. And then I really want to try this. Search. Do you see a wave? I don't see a waveform anywhere.
No, I don't either.
No. Maybe if I yeah. Da 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 da.
It's gonna give you a
It just searched that many does.
It searched. It came up with I'm blue dabu dee dabu die dabu dee dabu da dabu dee dabu die.
Did it come out with a Queen song?
No, I don't even know what song.
Or the police song.
It did. Da do 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 da da da. Yeah, it came up with that. And Gypsy Woman, she's homeless, la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. And the Beatles, obla-di, obla-da.
Well, that's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not what it's supposed to be doing.
I know, but
Yeah,
that's
I don't have
good.
it yet. You're supposed to get a waveform. That's Sound Search rolling out to YouTube Music for Android and iOS starting now. They also confirmed that they are testing AI-generated conversational radio. Now,
What
this isn't
the
what you
hell
thought it
could
was.
that be?
No. You generate a
thought it was
radio
like
music
Clubhouse.
station by describing what you want to hear.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how that is. That also, I don't have it yet on my phone. But here is an example from 9 to 5 Google. Ask for music any way you like. He said, play queer hip-hop beats. And that's what he got. Okay. So that's coming to YouTube Music. Does anybody use you? I do, because when you pay for YouTube Premium, you get the music for free. So
Yeah, same here.
that's
Do
why
you
I use it.
YouTube Music
Yeah.
for all of your music?
No, I also have Apple Music and Amazon Prime Music and some other music.
Do you have
I don't
Spotify?
have Spotify, no, because I'm not a hip person
No,
like
we
you.
don't. Well, we don't like Spotify. It ruined podcasting.
We hate in this house. We hate Spotify.
Yes.
Are you a Spotify fan?
I have Spotify.
Yeah, all
but
the
I'm not
youngs love
particularly
Spotify. It's
held
just
to it.
it's your culture. It's your people.
That's the problem, is that like
Yeah.
Spotify is the worst, but people love it. So
I don't even know if it's the worst to discover. I always
No, it's
like
the
to
worst.
discover. Tuesday was
It's
good.
not great.
Is it? It's not good.
I mean, I
What's
don't
wrong
know.
with it?
It's
Why is it
fine.
bad? Is it the interface?
It's
it's just an extension of the music
they're
industry.
always trying to get me to listen to podcasts or audiobooks, and I don't want to listen to either of those on Spotify. I keep my podcasts and music separately.
Don't put my podcast in my music. I agree. YouTube's doing the same
it'd be
thing.
disgusting. I mean, it's not a phenomenal app experience. I don't think that there's anything that stands out to me as uniquely bad about it, but it's not an app where I'm like, wow, this is a delight to use.
They don't pay their artists. It's like all the
Yeah.
labels. There's a bunch of AI
It's very
music.
corporate.
There's a lot of really
They
bad
ruined
things.
podcasting. That's all you need to know.
And control music with your. Oh no, that's Amazon. Okay, Google is ending an experiment that lets you annotate search results. The Google Notes. Now, this was only an experiment, so
It didn't last very long.
It didn't even last a year. The idea was you could add your own notes to search results, which is, I think, a good idea. You have to opt into it. It's part of the search labs. If you did, you could see and add annotations featuring text.
So would you
and
see
image.
other people's annotations?
Yeah, to links to search results. Yeah.
Weird.
There were some early things on the web like that, way back, my child. But the problem was
You're looking for the best
It could be a
wheel.
place for spam.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. It was gamed, right?
Yeah.
Twitter
of
had
course.
those community
Human
notes.
beings.
Has X taken down the community notes?
Oh, no,
now?
no,
No, community
still
notes
there?
are still there.
I think that's a really important way to handle disinformation, personally.
I agree.
And there are good people like Molly White from last week who put their time in to actually annotate stuff and say, yeah, but here's the facts or whatever. In fact, I think that happened to us yesterday. Steve Gibson found a TikTok he thought was really funny. A couple of British guys. Neighbor comes up to the Ring doorbell and says, my Wi-Fi doesn't work anymore. He said, what do you mean? He said, you put a password on it. He said, no, it's my Wi-Fi. Yeah, but it's going through my house. It was funny. It was cute.
very funny,
Steve tweeted it. And then I think immediately Community Notes said, nah, those are two actors. It's staged. They do this all the time. Which was great. That was very useful. And as to get rid of disinformation, right? Took some of the fun out of it, though. Gemini on Android just got more useful. According to Android Police, on the lock screen, you can now use Gemini, the Google AI-powered assistant, on the lock screen. It can now help you to general questions even when your phone is locked. Okay. It's Gemini's pretty good. Right now, I think my favorite is Claude by Anthropic, the Sonnet, the newest Claude. But Gemini is good. In fact, I signed up for that when they started using it. Well, we did duplicate one story, so that's it for the Google changelog. There were only 3 stories. There you go. Now you've heard it all.
Ain't what it used to be.
Changelog ain't what it used to be. Is there anything we missed? I think I got a lot of the stories in today.
I think you got it pretty much in there.
Wow.
Yep.
It's all in there.
Feller.
OpenAI illegally, this is from the Washington Post, barred staff from airing safety risks. This is from some whistleblowers who asked the Securities and Exchange Commission to probe the company's allegedly restrictive non-disclosure agreements. People have criticized those non-disclosure agreements before. Sam Altman, in fact, was so embarrassed. He said, "Oh, we don't do that," and then it came out they do that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. 7-page letter sent to the SEC, obtained by the Washington Post. OpenAI made staff sign employee agreements that required them to waive their federal rights to whistleblower compensation. Can you even do that?
I don't think you can do that.
You can waive your federal rights. Staff was also required to get prior consent for the company if they wanted to disclose information to federal authorities. Again, the FBI comes a knocking. You ought to get talking. Don't go ask Sam. He's busy. He's got sewage in his pool.
He's got a lot of
He's got other things on his mind. OpenAI did not create...
Coyotes.
He's got coyotes. OpenAI did not create exemptions in its employee non-disparagement clauses for disclosing securities violations to the SEC. If you were to tell the SEC about any security violations, that would be a violation of your non-disparagement. You're disparaging us. Okay. You cannot. This is just blatantly. You can't do this. You can't do this. These overly broad agreements, the Post says, violated longstanding federal laws and regulations meant to protect whistleblowers. Of course. You just can't do that. And I'm sure we'll see if the SEC does anything. But Mistral, which is the French OpenAI, has released Codestral Mamba, which is designed for code generation. The reason I put this in the rundown is just I think it's interesting to see that there's more knobs you can turn on LLMs.
Yeah.
There are things you can do. So Mistral has 2 new entries. One, a large language model that is math-based, and one that is for code generation. They want to improve the efficiency of the transformer architecture by simplifying, and I don't know anything what this means, but this is what it says, by simplifying its attention mechanisms. Mamba-based models, unlike more common transformer-based ones, could have faster inference times and longer context. In fact, this context is 256,000 tokens. That's twice that of OpenAI's ChatGPT 4o. And a bigger context means you can look at a larger group of documents or of information and incorporate that into your answer. It seems to make a big difference. Codestral Mamba. You'll be able to use it through Hugging Face. It's an open source Apache 2 license. So good.
I will say Mamba versus Transformer does sound like it should be a action movie.
Yeah, it does. And according to Proof News, so this seems like this would be another place to kind of invest in. They're doing investigative journalism. They analyzed a database used by many companies, created by Eleuther AI, called it's like it has a funny name, like the pipe, the pile. I'm sorry, the pile. The pile contains material from a lot of creators, YouTube creators, but also the European Parliament, English Wikipedia, and weirdly, a trove of Enron Corporation employee emails released as part of a federal investigation some years ago. The pile was originally created with I think the good intentions of letting AIs train on information, but not just from big companies, but anybody. They used one of the things they did to create the pile, which is a pile of text, is take subtitles from 173,000 YouTube videos, 48,000 channels, and this data was used by NVIDIA, by Anthropic, and by Apple to train their AI. The data set called YouTube Subtitles contains video transcripts from Khan Academy, MIT, Harvard, The Wall Street Journal, NPR, the BBC, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and Jimmy Kimmel Live. Apparently, Jimmy Fallon just not worth the energy. Just going to leave the...
that's a good judgment, actually.
Yes. Proof News also found material from YouTube megastars like Mr. Beast, Marquez Brownlee, and Jacksepticeye. Now, help me out here, Benito, because I've never heard of... What does Jacksepticeye do?
I don't know that one.
He says, I play video games, but I also make other content like Try Not to Laugh. Oh, he's a PewDiePie wannabe. Uh-huh.
They learned from this?
Uh-huh. Well, he's got 30 million subscribers. Jeez Louise. What are we doing wrong here?
Letting anybody publish anything?
Okay. I should play more Elden Ring, obviously. So Proof News created a tool to search for creators in the YouTube AI training data set so you can find out who's in there, if you are in there. They didn't ask permission for anybody. Dave Wiskus, who's CEO of Nebula, which is a streaming service partially owned by its creators. Our own Renee Ritchie was on Nebula for some time. Dave Wiskus says, it's theft. It's theft. It's disrespectful, especially since studios may use generative AI to replace as many of the artists along the way as they can. Will this be used to exploit and harm artists? Yes, absolutely, Wiskus says.
You put it out there in public. People read it.
That's
they
the debate.
They watched it.
That's what the president of Microsoft's AI, Suleiman, said. Hey, it's on the internet. That means it's public domain. It's not public domain. Obviously, it can still be copyrighted. But he said, everybody has a right to read it, including our AIs. You put it out in public.
I agree. Paris does not.
I agree.
Oh, okay.
Why
You're
not?
Softened.
Why not?
You're worn down.
I'm worn down. Let's get our picks of the week. It's been
Okay.
I don't even know how long it's been because John wasn't here to start the timer. As far as I know, we've been doing this for hours.
We started at 5:40 my time. It's now 8:07 my time. So it may feel like 3 hours, but it's not.
It's not. So this would be a good time to take a break. Yeah. When we come back, your picks of the week. You're watching This Week in Google with the wonderful but tired Paris Martineau from The Information. It's okay. It's okay. You can just close your eyes. President Trump did it at the convention.
Briefly.
You can fall asleep. It's okay.
In the middle of the ad break.
Yep. Jeff Jarvis, also here. What? Hello? Okay.
Who is that?
What's going
on? That yellow man. What can I do with the camera? Why does it do this? I don't
know, Jeff. No one understands it.
I need John to come do a house call.
Oh, it changed briefly.
Well, I did that. It wasn't magic, Paris.
So in the new studio, to avoid the sallowness of the complexion, I will have many lights and good cameras. I don't know. We'll see if I can avoid.
Like how many square feet is the new studio versus the old?
It's as big as this tabletop. Oh, it's bigger than the first. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
So in 2004, when I started doing the radio show, I did it from my house for like a month because it was like you'd get out of bed and you go, okay, I'm going to do a radio show. There was no, I'm going in, I'm going to do a radio show. So we decided to rent a little tiny, really tiny, probably 10 by 10 room, 100 square foot room in the top of an old bed and breakfast. And I did the show from there. And it was much better just because I was getting up, getting dressed, going somewhere to do a show. And then slowly, as we expanded, we took over the whole cottage. Then when that became too small, we built the Brick House studio. That was 15,000 square feet or something. It was huge and very nice. And then we were forced out of there because the owners sold the building. So we took everything and moved here to the East Side studio. We've been here for 8 years. But it's time, I think, to...
But how many square feet was the cottage studio versus your final studio?
This one that we're going to, the attic?
No, the one you're going to. Yeah, the attic.
The new attic is about 400 square feet compared to 100. But it's not all devoted to the studio.
Decent.
I got a little TV there. And
well, I got to ask another question, given what you just said. Are you going to get dressed?
Yes, I promise.
Okay.
Pants?
I promise. I'm always going to get dressed. Anthony Nielsen, who's going to be one of the people who's helping me with the studio, says your camera is always fighting the color balance of the Windows daylight with the warm lights of the inside. You've got two different colors.
It's also the changing light
exactly.
because
the light changes.
Sunset.
It gets
sunset.
golden hour.
Yes.
Yeah. But more lights would overpower whatever you get from the window.
Yeah, you'd have to cover
I
the
have
windows.
lights. I added lights, but
You should need to cover the windows, though.
Yeah. I have...
I put ND.
it's all right. Let me show you what this looks like, though. It's a huge
yeah, you need...
window.
You need blackout.
Because
But
there,
now you're getting
all
nothing.
the way up there,
Yeah.
all the way over there.
That's nice for you, but crappy for TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a light. There's a light.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. It's done pretty well. I don't know what to do. Just we're going to seal off the windows in my...
you have to
newsletter.
basically beat the sunlight with unnatural light, and that's really hard.
If anybody who's listening knows, or maybe you guys know, so there are two small... Here, I'll show you. There are two small windows behind me that will be... I don't think they'll be on camera, but we're going to have wider shots that allow you to see more of the studio. But I'll show you in this shot. It's these two windows up here, little square windows. I want to get, I want to get stained glass, fake stained glass appliques.
Oh, I've got a recommend. I mean, I think I just got mine from Amazon, but I have stained glass appliques on my window in my bathroom, and it looks lovely.
What I'd really like to do is have have it a stained glass with the TWIT logo in it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
so
That might be asking
cute.
too much. I don't know.
Well, you don't do stained glass. Yeah, just do plastic. You can.
Yeah, no, it won't be
you could
real
definitely
stained
get
glass.
someone to do
yeah.
that.
We'd make a little church.
Leo, question.
Yeah.
When we come to Petaluma, can we come to the studio or no?
One of you can. There's room for one.
One. Okay. One.
You can bring Jake.
We can
Jake
never
sit
be
in the couch.
in the same
room. Oh,
But so
no.
Twit's going to change as a result. 'Cause
Yeah,
you often
we don't.
have
We sometimes have
people.
live twits, but yeah, no, there will never be more than. I shouldn't say never. Maybe there'll
Just
be.
a little on team.
It might be. I mean, it's big enough. I could do a round table there. I guess I'd have to get some more cameras or something. I don't know. It's changing.
You'll learn. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Paris Martineau, pick of the week.
My pick of the week
a good
is
one.
a story I've been following for quite some time, which is the decline of Aussie media. Carlos Watson, the founder of Aussie Media, was found guilty of fraud this week and faces up to 37 years of prison. If you recall, this is a media company that kind of the downfall started, a couple of years ago when Ben Smith for the New York Times reported on very evident fraud happening. Basically, let me see and find.
What was OZY? What
fundraising.
was Aussie's thing? What were they trying to do?
It was a website.
Like a
it was a
digital media
podcast.
company?
It was a digital media company. Yeah, it was Black Media, and it had many fans, but not an audience.
But not as many as they claimed there were.
That's the issue.
There was a 2021 fundraising call during which I believe the CFO of Aussie Media misled Goldman Sachs executives by impersonating a YouTube executive. He literally pretended to be the guy on the phone and then got caught later. And a huge investigation has come of this because that's kind of blatant fraud. He, I believe, was found guilty of fraud in an earlier case. And Watson, the founder of it, who from the beginning has been like, oh, I had nothing to do with this. Aussie is great. It's a huge, booming media company with lots of fans and active readers, was found guilty of fraud for both, I believe, this incident and then also kind of overestimating other things.
Yeah.
OZY is a diverse.
Remember Caddy K quit BBC to go be on Aussie,
Wow.
and then suddenly arrived there and was, oops. And she went knocking on the BBC's door and said, can I come back?
They say it's a diverse, global, and forward-looking media and entertainment company focused on the new and the next. I don't know why I've never heard of this.
Well, that's the problem.
Well, many people hadn't heard of it, but they told people that it was, the next big thing.
Oh.
It had, when I said fans, I mean dumb investors.
Prosecutors presented the jury with evidence showing that Watson had sent emails to investors claiming Aussie made $12 million in 2017, while Aussie's tax return for that year listed less than $7 million in gross sales.
So I could have done this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am a YouTube executive, and I think Twit is the best thing that ever happened to YouTube. 1 million views. Thank you. Bye. Because we actually had more than 7 million revenue at our peak. So this was, I see they only have 3.99 thousand. They have 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it was never big.
267 videos. So what is the fraud though? It was to investors?
The fraud specifically was that I believe they had said that in this call they were representing to Goldman Sachs employees as a YouTube exec, saying that they were discussing a $600 million takeover of Aussie.
They almost made it.
But that wasn't happening.
This is the fake it till you make it thing. And I think there are a lot of people in the world think that's okay. And there's a fine line between believing in yourself and saying, we're going to be big, or, we've got some great dreams, and then actually pretending that you're big if you're not. They had a bunch of podcasts. I mean, they were doing kind of what we do, except not about tech, obviously. In fact, about quite a variety of things. They had Aussie Fest, the Aussie Genius Awards. Here's Aussie on PBS. Wow. The Late Show with Colbert.
There was a Zoom video conference on February 2nd, I think in either 2020 or 2021, where Aussie arranged between the Goldman Sachs Asset Management Division, which was looking to invest $40 million in Aussie, and YouTube employees, and it was supposed to be about. The scheduled participants included Alex Piper, the head of unscripted programming for YouTube Originals. He was running late, apologized to the Goldman Sachs team, saying he was having trouble logging onto Zoom, and suggested the meeting be moved to a conference call. Everyone switched to a conference call. Then Alex Piper was like, Goldman Sachs bankers, Aussie's a great success on YouTube. It's racked up all these views and ad dollars. Carlos Watson is a great leader. He's fantastic. As this is from the New York Times story. As he spoke, however, the man's voice began to sound strange to the Goldman Sachs team, as though it might have been digitally altered. After the meeting, someone on Goldman Sachs' side reached out to Mr. Piper, not through the Gmail address that was provided to participants before the meeting, but through Mr. Piper's assistant at YouTube. That's when things got weird. A confused Mr. Piper told the Goldman Sachs investor that he had never spoken to her before. Someone else, it seems, had been playing the part of Mr. Piper on that call with Aussie.
In fact, it turned out to be Samir Rao, the co-founder and chief operating officer of Aussie, using a voice changer. Yeah.
He then pleaded guilty. So I didn't know that Sundar Pichai testified.
Yes.
Because they had claimed that he had offered to buy the company for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes. And Pichai was like, no, we didn't.
That was pretty much
so
all
I don't know.
testimony.
This has just been a story that I've been following since the beginning because the founders' claims online were incredibly aggressive. Like, I am being framed. This is a hit job. And they kept digging in farther and farther into his own lies. And it is really great to see justice be served and him found guilty.
Jail
it's also
time?
just wild to name your company.
What's the punishment?
Well, he could get up to 37 years, but it's a white collar crime case, so it probably won't be that. It is kind of wild, though, to name your company Aussie in reference to Ozymandias, a poem and tale about the hubris of man, and then have it conclude in such a way.
Gaze on these wonders. The jury deliberated for 3 days after an 8-week trial. He was accused of conspiracy to commit securities and wire fraud. Many of the government's witnesses revealed new details about deception at the company. Watson knew the company was failing, said the prosecutor, but he was determined to turn Aussie and himself into the next big thing. Well, I can't really say I blame him, but obviously you can go too far in that fake it till you make it. There's fake it till you make it Theranos, And there's fake it till you make it, I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg.
Everything.
Elon Musk, right?
It seems, yeah. It is kind of an interesting example of, another one of these going awry. It seems like.
But they have big events. I mean, I'm seeing, they had a Manhattan. Every year they would have the Aussie Fest in comedy, music, and talks in Manhattan. It looks like a big deal. It's pretty fancy.
I am forgetting the specific details of this, so I could be getting them wrong, but I recall a story coming out at the time when this was all, I can't find it in Google search because now everything is about how he just got convicted of fraud. But there were details at the time showing that like how they got the events was through a similar, obviously much smaller scale, kind of seemingly fraudulent activity. Like maybe saying you have this many subscribers, but they were actually like newsletter like readers or something like that.
I think, sad to say, I think this happens in podcasting a lot, and it kind of hurts us because we, we tell the truth in our numbers, and forever from the day one, there were companies like ours who really tried to find out what the numbers were, and there were companies who said, "We got 1 million listeners," and we're all lumped together. And so I think that the podcast numbers are one of the reasons podcasting struggles is because the numbers are not widely believed. And there's been many attempts to fix that. Well, I guess I'm kind of sad to hear this, but at the same time,
he was pretty obnoxious.
Sounds like he.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, as a fellow human, never happy to hear of a fellow human potentially going away for years. But the thing that I think made this quite exceptional is he was incredibly obnoxious online about this, like to a point of like tweet thread after tweet thread being like, I am being framed. Here's this and this. At some point, he had it was like third-party website write up, like little articles on his behalf, advocating for his own point of view, but it was kind of like a AI churn website. It really goes quite deep. The latest rumor and conspiracy theory going around in media world about this is there's a Instagram account I'm forgetting the name of that was started up during the trial that was something like Carlos Watson is innocent. This Instagram account is not maintained by Carlos Watson, but it's maintained by one of his supporters, and every single day would post stuff about how innocent he is. And I'm like, all right, sure, man, yeah, this is totally maintained by someone else other than you.
I'll tell you why. I mean, fraud is fraud, and but I'm a little sympathetic because we live in a culture where some people really get away with this. That there are people who
it's huge.
will lie their way through, I don't know, a presidential debate and not get called on it. And I can see how somebody might say, "Hey, the culture says I should fake it till I make it. The more vigorously I deny it, the more likely people will believe me." It's a little different when a white guy does it than when a black guy does it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
The white guy's getting away with it. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So I understand. I feel a little bit bad for somebody who might think, gosh, why not me? Don't defraud me.
I mean, I think honestly, probably the answer is that somehow the world's most juicy anecdote got out to someone who tipped off Ben Smith, then the media columnist at the New York Times, about it. And regardless of race, if you hear about a prominent anything exec that has raised how many $100 millions impersonating a YouTube executive,
that's
on
a pretty bad
Goldman
one.
Sachs bankers, that's huge.
A pretty bad
like
one.
$ eyes is the wrong word because journalists aren't thinking about it in terms of money, but that is like my heart starts beating faster thinking about
there is
that sort of
a well-known former president who posed as somebody else to reporters all the time. And would call the reporters and tell them how wonderful this fellow was.
Yep.
There's recordings of it. It's blatant. Okay, I can see it's in the air. That's all I'm saying. Jeff, pick of the week.
All right, let's just have a little light one here.
You're gonna have a hard time beating my butcher block design tool from last week. That's all I can say.
It's true.
It was a pretty good.
It was, boy, I didn't know how well it was going to go over, frankly. I thought you'd laugh at me. Go ahead, Jeff.
A drone that conquers Everest.
Wow. It flew all the way up Everest? Did it need oxygen?
That's what they say. DJI Global, a breathtaking video of a Mavic 3 flying over Mount Everest on Weibo.
It does look fake, doesn't it?
It does. Maybe it is.
Is it supposed to be hard for a drone to fly?
Well, the air is pretty
Everest?
thin.
The air is thin, and you're
Is that
far
a
away from
problem?
your
for drones?
radio.
Yeah, you don't get as much
yeah.
lift with thin air. I guess. I don't know. I don't know a thing about this stuff. 3,500 meters from base camp to the summit of the highest mountain in the world. Yeah, DJI drones can go 3,500 meters, I think. This is a DJI Mavic 3
But not
Pro.
in the U.S., right? DJI is the one that's banned.
Not yet. There is a proposal that they be banned. That is beautiful. I mean, if it's real, that's so cool. You can see there's some trekkers. Oh, this is sped up, notice. That's interesting. Yeah. So the drone doesn't go quite that fast. My pick of the week is from planet Earth to planet Sol, or whatever it is. That's the sun. This is a current...
Planet Sol.
The planetstoday.com. It's exactly where the planets are right now.
Where's the Tesla?
Yeah, where is the Tesla?
That's another one. There is a live, wait a minute. There is a live update.
I pointed this out on Twit the other day.
Didn't we talk about it? Yeah.
Tesla Roadster or something?
Yeah.
Where's the manhole cover?
Here is where in space is Tesla Roadster, and that's its live position right now.
That's great. We got to combine these two maps so that
they
I
go
can,
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Planet Sol.
That's Planet Sol. Okay, you got me. You got me. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I think we should wrap this one up. Thank you, Paris Martineau, theinformation.com. She's working a big story. And if you know anything about it, tip her. Go to the Signal and Martineau.01 and say, everything you're saying, Paris, is absolutely right on. I have the deets.
Yeah.
And then, but don't do it on your work phone.
Not on your work phone,
Nope.
ideally.
Nope.
If you want to be safe, don't do that.
Yes. It's not her fault if you get busted. I hear that Carlos is an honest man, and I'm gonna call a tip in to you. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Framed.
They're appealing, so I don't know.
I mean, it's not over. It ain't over till it's over.
Well, it never is. Yeah.
It ain't over till the fake YouTube guy sings. That is the director of the former emeritus director of the Town Heights Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. He is flesh-colored. So whatever you did, fixed
Kind
it.
of.
Yeah, you look good. You look
better.
tanned, rested, ready to run.
It's that time of day where it just drives it crazy.
Yeah. Thank you,
storm
Jeff.
coming in.
It's good
Thank
to have you
boss.
back. I miss
It's good to
you
be
when
back.
you're not here.
Same here. I missed you guys.
And I am so happy that you celebrated another journey around the sun, even though you
Much
don't want
like
to.
the Tesla
Sol.
Roadster.
Much like the Roadster. Thank you, Paris Martineau. Great to see you. We will be. Think of a game we could play online. You could teach me.
All right, I will.
Okay.
I'm thinking on it.
Something. Yeah, we gotta do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
The new gaming corner.
Gaming corner. It's going to be Paris's gaming corner. We could do a
Fun with Paris.
Fun with Paris. We'll always have Paris. How about that? Thank you for joining us. We'll always have Twig this week in Google as long as you join the club, twit.tv/clubtwit. We do the show every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. We are now live everywhere that streams video, including YouTube, Twitch, Kick, LinkedIn, Facebook, X.com. Just search for Twit on any of those platforms, and you'll find our live stream so you can watch us as we do the show. After the fact, though, of course, you can listen it or watch at your leisure. We make audio and video available on demand at twit.tv/twig. That's the website. There's also a YouTube channel devoted to This Week in Google, where we have 48 million followers now, which I'm really thrilled about. And if you doubt me, I've got Sundar Pichai on the other line to tell you the truth.
It's true.
Yep. That's him right there. He said it. It's
Leo
true.
is so right. He's my favorite podcast.
Thank you, Sundar Pichai. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcast client. Just look for This Week in Google. Thanks to our producer, Benito Gonzalez. Appreciate your work. Our studio manager, Jammer B, who's going to be retiring in about 3 weeks. So we'll have to have a little retirement.
No.
What?
No studio manager. But the story of Jammer B is great because he retired from Cal State Los Angeles 14 years ago. He literally, he retired. He has a pension, moved up next to the cottage just so he could help out. And eventually Lisa said...
He's amazing, Jammer B. He's amazing.
Lisa said eventually, we got to hire this guy for something. His first job was fetching me my salads.
He's still and slippers.
Salad slinger.
He was a salad slinger, but he, of course, rose to the exalted position of studio manager. He's been wonderful, like all our team. I just love them all, and I'm going to miss just hanging out with them here. But John has very happily said, okay, it's time to retire again. 15 years after his first retirement, he's going to move up to the Pacific Northwest by his sister. He's very excited about it. Yeah, he's very happy about it. So
he's such a great guy.
Yeah, and we'll probably
Jammer B.
settle him.
He's a character, Jammer B.
Yeah, he's wonderful. Real. He's the conscience of the show. He's the guy who yells if you swear. In fact, Benito, let's not forget. We got to record. Hey.
Oh yeah.
And I'll have a hey button that I can use. Very important.
Jammer B's laugh whenever it comes from
in
the back being picked up by the Leo mic
He's
makes
our
me
best
cackle.
Audience. I know, I agree. He's not here today.
So charming.
I miss having him around already. And Burke McQuinn, who we are going to keep on, he's our studio fixer-upper, and we will need him because God knows there's a lot of fixing up and
things to break.
Do. Yeah, a lot of things to break. Leo will be breaking things. Thanks also to our executive producer and my dear wife, Lisa Laporte, who keeps all four wheels on almost all the time. And thanks to you, Ty, our marketing director. And here's a couple of little Ties. Aw, what are their names? King and Theo. Hey, guys. Aw, you've never been here, have you? You wanted to see it before we shut it down, didn't you? Yeah. Do you want to say hi to Paris and Jeff? Come on, you can come over if you want to. You don't have to. If you want to be on camera, they are the cutest I've ever seen. Oh, look at that. Come on over here. And then wave at the nice people.
Hi.
Move over a little more. There you go. Yay!
You guys are so tall.
There you're
taller
with
than
Grandpa Jeff. You know, he's 70 and you're almost as tall as he is. So that's pretty good.
I'm shrinking.
That's huge.
These are the kids of Ty, our great marketing director. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time. Everybody wave goodbye on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.